Welcome to the Gibberpish Podcast.
Well, we may be mere days away from Dom becoming a complete asshole, but we're here to talk gibberish, aren't we, Dom?
Why am I an asshole?
For those of you not in the know, Dom has upgraded himself for his cell phone.
Oh yeah. I switched from the BlackBerry because apparently BlackBerry phones aren't cool anymore. The kids ain't down with the Blackberries no more.
I challenge you to remember when a BlackBerry was cool.
I think Blackberries were cool when people seen them in movies back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Like maybe during the Matrix. Maybe that's
when you had the Nokia sliders. That's when they were cool. But yeah, I've recently upgraded to the iPhone XR. It's a pretty good phone, but I have two major gripes with it. One, you can't just put music on it.
Right.
You can't just... what phone are you rocking? You're rocking the Huawei
Honor 10.
Honor 10. You could plug that into your computer right now and just drag and drop songs over.
Yes.
I have to buy all my shit through iTunes.
Which, by the way, Apple just canned.
Oh, that's fucking...
Apple just shut down iTunes.
Well, motherfucker.
They've moved it onto their subscription service. I think you can still get Spotify through that.
Yeah, I've still got Spotify. That's where my music comes from. But I like to customise my phone. I've had the same ringtone since Guardians of the Galaxy came out. Come and Get Your Love by Redbone.
Yeah.
I want to keep that as my ringtone. I had to pay £1 to get it on this phone.
Shit.
And I, as a huge Street Fighter fan, I like having my text message tone being the Hadouken noise that Ryu makes in Street Fighter 2. I had to pay 99 pence for that. Not a fan of that. But apart from that, everything else about the phone is great. It loads hella quick compared to my BlackBerry. I still use the BlackBerry because this thing is a thirsty motherfucker. The battery, if I listen to Spotify when I'm sleeping, it would chew through a lot of battery. So I just turn this off. BlackBerry still works. I use Spotify through that to listen to music while I'm sleeping. The BlackBerry still functions as my alarm.
Right.
But and also, I can't use headphones with it. There's no headphone port.
There's no headphone jack.
And which leads me on to the second point. The headphones that they give you are utter garbage.
Well, see, this is where Dom will become an asshole in about a couple days from now. Because Dom's going to start looking into some wireless options, aren't you, Dom?
I've already got wireless options. I've got my Skull Candy True Wireless earbuds. I'm not looking at the AirPods because...
That's where I was going with this. I was going with
the
the AirPods.
AirPods are anything like the actual wired headphones that they give you, I'm not using them. Because at any point, they feel so loose in your ear. Because I'm used to wearing the earbuds that you get with the little plastic bit on it.
It goes in.
That go in the ear and it's secure. And especially on my Skull Candy Indies, they've got the other little rubber bit that fits into the top part of your ear. So that it's nice and secure. I've been out jogging with them, been at the gym with them. Solid. Don't fall out.
Yeah.
Did the same thing with the wired iPhone headphones, and they're fucking awful. I took my dog out for a walk. That lets you know the speed that I was going at. It was just a nice walk along. Had Spud next to me, and every so often it was, Spud, wait, put the headphone back in. They feel fucking awful. So I've left them in the box, never to be touched again because they are so fucking bad.
Yeah. I was waiting for you coming in today with the little tusks at the side of the head that let you know you're a complete asshole.
No, I would never go that far.
Unironically wearing those. Like, it started off as kind of like one or two people had it as a joke when they first launched. Now it's just a commonly accepted thing. You can just wear those in public. Like, it's not a big deal. Yeah. You look like a fucking twat.
Yeah. I have the True Wireless headphones, but I will never buy a pair of AirPods just because it's the same type of headphone.
Yeah.
It's just wireless.
They just cut the wire off.
Speaking of cut the wire off, certain people in my university have been getting the wired iPhone headphones and be cutting the wire off so it looks like they have AirPods in.
I've seen that done as a joke.
People do it because it's cool. It's the same. Remember when the 3D cinema first became a big thing and people were buying those 3D glasses?
Yeah.
Then after the cinema, they'd poke the 3D lenses out and just wear them as nerd glasses.
I've never seen that done, but I can imagine it happening.
It happened quite a lot. And I've seen quite a few people going, oh, I wear glasses now. It says real 3D on the side. Fucking take them off. Stop appropriating my bespectacled culture, fucker.
It's culture appropriation of fucking fake glasses.
It just pissed me off. Like, why? I mean, that's why whenever I see Bernie on Rooster Teeth, it always kind of bugs me. I'm like, there's no lenses there. Take the fucking glasses off.
He tried it. He said that he did it a while back. By the way, Rip Bernie, he's done with the RT podcast. He's stepping back. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on, changing at Rooster Teeth. Fuck touching up the 10-foot pole. But he is stepping away from doing the RT podcast and will be sorely missed. But I mean, he gets to do what he wants. He's working on stuff. He'll maybe make appearances from time to time. He made no promises about that, which I like, because a lot of people say, oh, I'll just be around the corner and I can maybe pop in if you need me. but I'm done. But he was like, no, I probably won't show up until a couple maybe big events.
I can understand why though. He's just, how old is his son?
He's he's mid-40s. He is mid-40s.
Yeah, mid-40s.
Married. He's had 2 kids with his first wife. They're now 18 and 16, I think. And he has now just had a baby with his second wife.
Yeah.
If he wants to step away from being a social media influencer, which is a game predominantly run by like the kids, I don't blame him in any way. I look at that and say that's a smart career move. Yeah. But
and you've got to imagine he's quite active with all the facets of Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
He likes to get involved with quite a lot of things. You'll see him, he'll pop up in the Rooster Teeth shorts. You'll see him occasionally in the Rooster Teeth live shorts, that kind of thing. So taking a step back to focus on other things, I'd say it's a smart move.
But the glasses thing, like he got I think he got LASIK surgery. He got contacts put in, and he likes wearing them more than glasses. But he was so people were so used to seeing him with glasses, or were so used to glasses just being part of his personality and his face. He put the lenses out of the glasses and just wore the frames for a while, and it was just as a comfort for the people who watch the show every week. And you're like, I guess it's kind of nice when we do that.
I suppose it's all if you're seen as that, that guy with the glasses, you can maybe just stare into that for a bit longer. Yeah,
it was a weird one. I actually, from last week, I promised a show starter, a show stopper.
Yeah.
Just before we get too stuck into this. Yeah. Now, last week we talked a little bit about was Bill Maher versus James Corden with the whole fat people thing. Yeah. And I weirdly enough found an appropriate weird story about fat people.
Okay.
This is the story of Khalid bin Mozen Shari from Saudi Arabia, who was the world's largest living man, weighing 610 kilos. Clocking in at 1,340 pounds for those using the freedom measurement. Guess how much weight he lost?
What's that in stone?
610
kilo. What's 610 kilo? You said, right?
610.
610. I mean,
it's over 100 stone.
I'm
well over 100.
Yeah, well over 100 because I'm
probably 110.
17 or I'm 16 or something. That's 195, like 195 or 100 or something.
Yeah.
So fucking hell.
So he clocks in roughly about a couple hundred kilos, or a couple hundred stone.
Fuck.
He got his weight down to 70 kilos.
Jesus Christ.
At one point, he was weighing 68 kilos, which is about 10% of his body weight, 10-11% of his body weight.
Yeah.
Like, we've both lost drastic amount of weight at some point in life. You feel fucking great.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine how much, if you can still remember how much you used to weigh, like your body kind of has a weird memory of like, I used to move like this, like it used to weigh this much. Can you imagine how that guy must have felt? He must have been like permanently just on ecstasy. Just, oh my God, everything. Oh, the colours are brighter.
Yeah, can you imagine? I mean, when you're that bigger size, you need to take more air in. Your lungs need more oxygen. You imagine that first breath of air after you've lost all that weight. Just, I don't need as much air anymore. Oh. I can run quicker. That guy's probably running miles in seconds.
He just has the muscle capability to move 610 kilos, but in a 60 kilo body.
It's like this guy's fucking Ant-Man.
Do you reckon he can levitate?
He probably can. He's probably just like walking about like I have all this energy now.
You're asking how he did it, and it was because when he was hospitalized. Because at a certain point you cannot care for yourself, you get hospitalized. He was put on, they tried to get him on like a kind of calorie restrictive diet, doing light exercise, and if you're that heavy, when you do a tiny amount of exercise, it reaps massive amounts of benefit. You can do literal just arm raises and drop weight. If you put a small weight in your hand and do the arm raises, you just start flying weight off your body. But of course there's so much weight to lose, it doesn't seem like much. But the Saudi king Abdullah was at one point touring the hospital, saw him in the bed and was like, oh fucking hell no. You're not like this thing is when you're that fat you become famous for being fat. And if somebody goes, oh, he's that fat guy from this country, if you're the king of that country, you probably go, wait, this guy is a representative of my people and he's a representative because he's fat. What the absolute shit is going on? I'm having
none of that.
So King Abdullah stepped in, gave him personal trainers, diets, best nutritionalists in the world, and he just hammered them to drop the weight, and that was his sole goal. Like, he was basically just financed by the king, lose that fucking weight. It's inappropriate.
Yeah. How do you bring the nation, the reputation of my nation into disrepute?
But he holds the world record for the most weight lost. However, he's not the heaviest man in history, because once you start this rabbit hole, you can't fucking stop.
Who's the heaviest man in history then? If 610 kilos is not the heaviest man in history, Who is?
In a weird way, like, it's not that far off, but then you remember...
And what part of Britain did they stay in?
Close. When you think about, like, the scale of the weights involved, like, it doesn't seem like that much, but then you remember what we're about to talk about is effectively a 25 kilo plate. So imagine carrying a 25 kilo plate. That's the difference between the world's heaviest men. But also remember that these people are at 600 kilos, which is what, like 12 of those? Is it 12 of those plates? I think so, yeah, we're about that weight. No, it's more than that. 24. So imagine carrying 24 25 kilo plates and then adding another one on top of it. Like, how did he... Obviously, this is the reason they're hospitalised. You could not physically fucking move under that weight. Heaviest man in history is John Burr Minnoch of Washington State. At his peak weight, he was 635 kilos. Fucking Christ. He actually cut it down to 216, which was the world record until the guy from Saudi Arabia. Weird thing, there were some stats about like his life, because when this happened, it was in the like 1900s. So people were like, this is a medical marvel in a way, in a kind of like freak show kind of way. And so people started documenting this, and at age 12, he was 133 kilos.
Fucking hell.
Heavier than I have ever been.
Yeah. At
age 12. There's no record of his height, which is kind of weird. But I've made some guesstimates, and he died at 6'1". So I'm guessing he was between 5'6" and 5'10". When he was at 22, he was 6'1", clocking in at 240 kilos. He lived to be 41.
Jesus.
Holy shit! And there's a couple photographs of the guy, and it's horrifying. Like, he can't stand at all. Like, he's slumped in a chair, and he's just kind of happy with himself. What are you happy about?
Okay, why are you happy?
He was hospitalised at the age of 36 after cardiac and respiratory failure. Wonder why?
Yeah, I wonder how that happened.
This is probably where he weighed in at about his 600 plus kilos. And then he married his wife, who weighed 50 kilos. They had 2 kids. How? No, just how?
No, I
just
don't
know.
know.
Just
no,
how,
no,
but
no,
no, but
no,
no how.
I'm not going to try and work that out. I don't want the image in my head.
There was.
I'm imagining someone trying to bang Jabba the Hutt. No, I don't want that image in my head.
It's literally Jabba the Hutt and Slave Leia. Thanks, Tom.
Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. That's how you died.
Crushed by Jabba's titty.
Jabba got one ball out and broke her leg.
She suffocated Charlie after. But there was a guy. Obviously, when you have these type of people, it becomes a study. You gotta figure out why this is happening. There was a man named Robert Schwartz who studied endocrinology, which is the study of hormones and metabolism, and he estimated that 400 kilos of John's body was extracellular fluid. So it's not actually cells, it's not mass, it's just this weird product, like this kind of waste product that builds up in the gap between like the cells and like cavities in the body. There was so much of it that he had a condition called edema. It might be edema or edema. It's edema, which is the buildup of the fluid. And if you Google this, which I obviously did, you find pictures of people sticking their like thumbs into fat people and then pulling the thumb out, and then the hole is still just kind of there. It's fucking horrifying. You look at it and you go, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. Why did I Google this thing?
I mean, at what point, when you're gaining all this weight and you realise that your grandkids or your children come up and they can prod you and the indent stays there like fucking Play-Doh, do you realise you need to start losing some weight?
And here's the thing, the image that they take, like the first Google image, I think it's the one on the Wikipedia page, that is of this edema condition, is on someone's shin. There's a whole ass thumbprint in someone's shin, and it's like a good inch and a bit deep. If someone did that to my titty and it stuck, like somebody pushed their hand into like my chest and it didn't pop back out immediately, I would be screaming on the phone to the NHS.
Yeah, I think if that happened to me, I would find whatever way I could to just run until the weight fell off.
I just don't know what I cannot imagine being that fat. But the showstopper was going to be get to the fucking gym. When I Google these stories and I research and I do bits and pieces, I come across some stuff that it just really refines how I look at humanity. Yeah. This one's definitely a motivating story for me for some reason. I don't know what it is, but there's just something terrifying about the idea that you weigh enough to crush a full, like...
You weigh enough as some smaller commercial vehicles. I'm pretty sure that guy weighs the same amount as a Fiat 500.
I looked.
Or he's not far off.
The reason I looked into this was, do you remember there was that ape creature from Asia that kind of travelled into North America, Gigantopithecus?
Yeah.
It's basically a giant orangutan. I was like, how big did that get? And I was wondering, wait, how big is that animal or how big is Gigantopithecus versus the biggest human? And I was like, oh wait, we outclassed that thing at least by double. Like the heaviest that thing could have weighed was about 200 kilos, and again, it's 200 kilos a monkey. It's not 200 kilos a person.
Yeah.
Where people just get fat. It's 200 kilos of, I'm just going to go rip a tree in half.
Yeah, it's 200 kilos of I need to swing from tree to tree, or I need to fight my way through things.
Yeah. And I was just comparing the two sizes. I'm like, the Gigantopithecus issue is interesting, but at the same time, we have these massive mega humans that are just a whole other species.
I think it comes down to more of when you have fat acceptance and you're happy being that weight, and it's not causing you mental health issues, or not mental health issues, physical health issues. Sure, by all means, you do you. That's the whole message of this show. You do you. But when it's causing you to be hospitalised because you physically can't move, how can you look at yourself in whatever double-sized fucking mirror that you're looking at and thinking, I'm happy? Because you're fucking killing yourself by eating too much.
I just wonder about like the respiratory failure. How does your chest, how does your diaphragm have enough force to push up even like a fraction of that weight? Because obviously not all that weight will be on your chest. Yeah. But imagine just like, I know how big my ribcage can get and stuff. Like there's a certain limit to sizes of the body. I just can't imagine being able to basically bench press that much weight with just my diaphragm.
You've got to imagine the act of breathing gets them out of breath, because like you said, there's just all the weight, and most of your weight would be caught around your chest, because that's where the stomach is and that's where all the fat tends to leak to come from. It's literally, you're bench pressing 400 and some odd kilos every time you're breathing out and in. Yeah, it's
terrifying. It's a weird perspective shift, and it's a good motivator for if you're ever wondering, I wonder if I could just give up and just get a bit fat,
get a bit podgy.
Nah, I'm done with that thought. That thought used to exist for a while. Like, what if I just kind of gave up and didn't work out?
You need to keep active. And I mean, that's what my doctor told me. I don't have any major weight issues or anything like that. I have personal weight issues because I don't like how heavy I am right now. I'm not overweight to the extent where I'm like needing a crutch or anything like that, but I'm just enough overweight where I notice it and I don't like it. But having conversations back and forth with my doctor, because I recently found out that I have exercise-induced asthma, which basically means that for every set of exercise that I do, I need to take my inhaler. So before rugby training, I need to take a puff of the inhaler. After, take a puff of the inhaler. In between halves at a game, I need to take the inhaler. And it was basically, I had that thought was, well, if I stop exercising, maybe it'll go away. And the doctor said that is probably the worst thing that you could do. And I said, how? I said, because you're exercising right now. You're exercising at least twice a week because you're training in games. If you stop that now, your asthma's going to get worse to the point where if you walk upstairs, you're going to be panting for breath. I was like, okay, so hammer the training is what you're saying. Like, well, don't go too hard because your heart just might give up. But keep your training going. Maybe add in a gym session. Maybe do some light cardio, that kind of thing. So, right, okay. So
it's the kind of traditional weight loss suggestions of it. You don't need to go all out.
Yeah, don't do that. Go ham.
Don't stop.
You don't need to go CrossFit wanker.
Yeah, don't go CrossFit wanker. Fucking love that.
You don't need to lift the. If you want to get in shape, often the simpler techniques are what work. Like doing deadlifts, that's all you need to do. Squats, that's all you need to do. You don't need to do the clean and jerk onto a squat, hold the bar behind you, then do another squat and put the bar down. That is just unnecessary levels of fatigue that you're putting your body through. Just do the regular squats or do the clean and jerk. You don't need to combine exercises.
I know there's the idea of progress, like we need to make progress and try new things. Yeah. But did you ever stop to consider why Olympic style weightlifting has been around for centuries?
Why no one tried to improve that formula?
Why when we get something that's really good and we test it for decades and decades and decades and no one's head fucking explodes because of it, we go, okay, we'll put that on the list. That's the approved list. And the CrossFit guys are trying it, but at the same time we are already seeing you guys buckle and break in the long term.
That's why I don't buy into all those you remember the insanity workouts?
Like P90X and stuff like that.
P90X. I don't buy into those.
They're just high intensity interval training. Yeah, I think they probably do work, and I've seen a lot of people who have their own personal like weight loss story, and I think that might be 50-50 on like them actually putting effort into the workout. Yeah. But I do think those will probably work if you can get the right set of movements that don't result in like damage and strain on ligaments and injuries and stuff. And I think you could make it work. It just depends on what exercise you're doing. It's the intensity that matters as much as anything else, like the lack of, or the lack of breaks. You just constantly pushing your body faster and faster and faster. Those I do think those would work. But when you have something like CrossFit where it's a multi-part movement where you're putting stress on different joints and muscles and stuff at the same time, that I'm like, you're getting kind of risky there, mate.
Yeah, I just don't buy into CrossFit. It just seems like you're putting your body under way too much stress. You're probably going to get more of a benefit from the workout itself if you just stick to the simpler shit than maybe, build up the weight slowly, try a new exercise instead of,
Do you know one weight
combining squats and kettlebells and shit like that?
Do you know one kind of like gym thing I've started using? Because I've moved gym from like the thousands of pieces of equipment up at one gym to the much more local, much more simple gym down the road, and I've started using battle ropes.
Oh, dude, those things are awesome.
Those are fun, but I fucking hate them.
Dude, you hate them, but you just it works out, because I've recently started going back to the Excite gym because I'm a student and I got a discount.
You jammy fucker.
For another 2 years. And doing the battle ropes, the way I do it is just the usual sort of alternating arms, but I hold it in a kind of squat.
Yeah.
And if I want to alternate it, I can do half squat, full squat. Yeah. Doing the full squat, that for 10 minutes, fucks you up.
Everything is so tight and you're just exhausted by the end of it. And I just do 30 on, 30 off, and it's 30 alternating, but like 4 sets of that. Yeah. 30 on, 30 off, and then switch to...
I should clarify for anyone else who's wondering, that's 30 sets, not 30 minutes.
No. So it's just 30 seconds, just left, right, and then you go to immediately, you just keep doing that 30 seconds on the watch, and then you switch to double arms. By the time you're finished the double arms, it's spite. It's fuck you, battle ropes. I will fucking snap you, you piece of shit.
There's a reason why they usually play music over the top of people doing battle ropes, because you hear fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
It's to hide from YouTube censorship.
Fuck you, motherfucking.
Although, see when you see like a guy who's been doing it for decades, it's fucking nuts. Yeah. They'll have like a 15-meter battle rope and there's and you'll just see it waving. Like maybe it's just the speed I'm playing the video at, but there's something about watching someone do like alternating battle ropes. It looks, you're like, what the shit is this? It looks like an oscilloscope of someone having a seizure. What the fuck?
I did see someone try to do both ropes with one hand. It's like the ropes are kind of chunky. Yeah. Like he had this weird grip on it, so he was kind of holding it like that. Yeah. I was like, what the hell are you trying to do? And I just kind of watched him because I was waiting to get onto the battle ropes. And he did one set, lost control, lost one rope and smashed his phone because his phone was off to the side like that. He held one rope in his hand, the other rope just went crack right on top of his phone. And I just thought, it's your own fucking fault, you asshole.
If you could hold, like, if I'm obviously using my hands, not great podcasting, but I'm just holding the hands out, and you can imagine both of them sitting in the same position. But Dom's hand did a weird thing where he was like splitting the fingers to wrap around the individual ropes.
It was kind of. Have you ever been carrying 2 tins of beer or something like that? You kind of do that weird grip where you use your top 2 fingers to hold one, your bottom 2 to kind of grab
hold
the
other one. Yeah.
Or if you're carrying and you've got stuff in between your fingers, he was kind of doing that, and as his smashed phone and very sore foot told him afterward, that's not the way to fucking do it, because there's the grip at the end of it. Yeah. It's usually tape or some kind of hard plastic.
The ones I'm using have got rubber and it's shit. It slips up my hand every time. I just grab the rope.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah. But you get some really, really nasty calluses afterward. But you need those calluses
to know fucking sweet calluses.
Yeah. That's why I fucking love doing the I think they call it the Olympic bar with the deadlift.
There's the hex bar.
The hex bar,
because the Olympic bar is it's a straight bar.
Or if you're just doing deadlifts in general, if you get the right grip on the bar, and you just get those nice calluses afterward. Yeah,
an Olympic bar is a slightly thicker, like just straight bar.
Yeah, and so it can carry. It's more load bearing. So
there's less wobble as well. Have you been watching Eddie Hall stuff?
Not really. No.
Eddie Hall is one of the world's strongest men. For the audience, but Eddie Hall is one of the world's strongest men. He is responsible for the heaviest deadlift in history, 500 kilos.
500k, yeah.
And you watch that video and you're like, dude, what the flying fuck am I watching? Yeah. It is absurd, and it's the fact that he lifts it, holds it there. Like normally you would just take that and just finish that rep as fast as humanly possible. He has it in his hands, looks at everyone in the eye, and then sets it down. Yeah. It is a fucking obscene display of power.
Doesn't he fall back immediately though?
No, like he puts it down, he drops to his knee like that. I don't think he drops back, but he handles it like a fucking champ. Like,
yeah. In fact, no, I remember the clip you're talking about. He does just fall to his knees and just fucking looks up. Yeah. You just see his wife.
He's bleeding out his nose. Yeah. The volume, like the sheer pressure of lifting that much weight, pushed his blood pressure so high, he just ruptured vessels in his nose. It's weird. It seems like a a superhero kind of comic book moment, but then you realize a real person did it. He started vlogging, and when I say a real person, I mean a genuine human being. He is a fantastic, hilarious person. I love to spend a day with the guy.
Have you seen his videos with Brian Shaw?
No.
You know who Brian Shaw is?
That's the other one of the other world strongest,
like
American
heaviest, 4-time strongest man or something.
He's at the heaviest bench press, I think it is.
Yeah.
I actually saw a video of him where he burst blood vessels in his pec.
Yeah.
After attempting a heaviest bench press. I sent it to a friend. She's like, "What the fuck did you just say?" I'm like, "That is the coolest, most metal shit I've ever seen."
Yeah, it just goes black.
It's just the entire pec is just black of all this blood that just ruptured inside his chest. It's nuts. These guys are absolutely like, this is the definition of superhuman.
Yeah. The video I'm talking about with Eddie Hall and Brian Shaw is the two of them just going through what they eat in a day.
Oh.
Brian Shaw's just like, I like to keep it clean, I don't like to go to sugars much. Then it cuts to Eddie Hall. It's just like, wake up in the morning, I make this, and it's like eggs, bacon, then have a bit of cheesecake. A couple hours later, have the rest of that cheesecake.
It's hilarious because he's just an absolute English lad.
Oh yeah.
And there's videos of him. He's working out. For some reason, Paddy McGuinness is hanging out with him and working out on something. I don't know if Paddy McGuinness is just on a fitness kick right now and he's working on something.
I mean, if you're going to work out with anybody, working out with Eddie Hall is probably going to get you motivated. Like,
it's an absolute right. I mean, the first video that I saw of the two of them together, they have their usual. They're doing the back workout, and he's I can't remember who suggests it, but someone suggests we do kettlebell nut squats. And everyone goes, "What the fuck's that?" Because we're going to take a kettlebell, tie it to our nuts, and do some squats.
Fuck no. Don't put shit near your dingus.
It's so bad. It's obviously very light kettlebells. It's only about 6. I think Paddy's is 6, and Eddie Hall's is 8. But at the same time, 8 kilos tied via fishing wire to your nuts. How do you not lose your nuts?
I mean, if your nuts stay there, you're going to be hanging low, like to the point where you probably be terrified of flushing the toilet because you flush your balls away.
It's he's a very good personality. He's very fun to watch, but he has uploaded one of the most honest videos about his strongman obsession and how it has almost lost him everything. Like he started when he promised, like he was kind of fucking around. He explains his childhood he wasn't that good a child. He was just kind of a bit of a shit. And he promised his gran that he's going to be the world's strongest man hours before she died. And he just let it all out and just chatted with her. And was like, he became obsessed with that point because he didn't want to let his gran down. And it's just the most horrific, like harrowing tale of just a guy keeping a promise at the expense of everything else. It's heartbreaking. You listen to it, you're like, dude, this is a journey I want to be on with this guy. It's hilarious. Like, check out his videos. His vlogs are really well done. I think he's gotten some like local film students who are like, dude, I need a CV.
I need some credits.
I need a CV and I live in Stoke-on-Trent. There is nothing to film in Stoke-on-Trent. Can I please film you? And he was like, no, I'll make a vlog.
Sure, fuck it, why not?
But he's done stuff. He's working with Arnie on something, and there's vlogs of them like hanging out and him meeting Arnold, and them going to like apparently something called an evening with Arnold. Yeah. And it's just you go up and you like you listen to Arnold Schwarzenegger speak. Like, who wouldn't want that experience?
Yeah.
It seems interesting. And
he's got to have some insights on just the whole bodybuilding thing, because he was how many times was he Mr. Olympia?
I think he got 3.
Yeah,
might be even 4. I'm not sure. I'm not that big on bodybuilding, but as far as like if you just want to listen to someone who's had the wackiest life possible, it's you would go to Arnie. Yeah. I do like the billboard, but of course he thought he could get away with sleeping with a maid. Have you read his storyline? He was an Austrian born immigrant to the United States who became a bodybuilder, who became a film star, who became the fucking governor of California, who married into the US equivalent of royalty, which is his name, the Kennedy family. Yeah, he's married to a Kennedy. Yeah. Of course he thought he could get away with banging the maid. Why wouldn't he? He got away with everything else in his life.
It reminds me of the Dylan Moran, but you know Dylan Moran is Irish comedian. It's like he just got to where he was because he lifted the heavy thing. Like, there's a bunch of people standing around in California going, "Oh no, we have the heavy thing." Arnold Schwarzenegger just comes on. Hold on, you have the heavy thing. You are our governor now.
But he's. I don't know if you've seen. We're going to talk about Joker in a bit. Yeah. Have you seen any of the trailers for the new Terminator?
Yes.
And he's back for some reason.
I'm cautiously optimistic. The
James Cameron has given me a little bit of hope.
Yeah, but the overall storyline, I'm just thinking this is just kind of a rehash of Terminator 2, because
Liquid Metal Terminator.
Liquid Metal Terminator, the young child being escorted by the supervising female or the overprotective female that's being chased by this weird kind of robotic this evil liquid Terminator thing. Yeah. Except it's some kind of weird particle nanobot thing that he's got this thing.
Yeah. It's got a chassis, but it also doesn't, because those are also nanobots.
Yeah. He can split himself, so he's got the weird nanobot side and the actual robot side.
I'm a big fan of a YouTuber called Peter McKinnon, who is a photographer, cinematographer, and he was given a chance through a partnership with Adobe to do a premiere thing where he would cut the trailer for Terminator, and they gave him their cut of the trailer or the footage they used and told him, go wild, but you can only use stuff in Adobe, so all their all the effects, all the music and stuff has to be built into the program, and you're going to run a competition for your fans where they're going to make their own cuts. Winner gets years worth of free Adobe Premiere, which is not too shabby considering it's like 150 quid or something like that for the year.
It's not cheap.
He made a better cut of the trailer than the actual Terminator one. I like his a lot more.
Yeah.
And then I sat there watching the cut of the actual the Terminator version for the cinema, and I was like, this could be better. Yeah,
this could be a lot better.
The structure of this doesn't make much sense. It could be.
You just reminded me of something that I do want to talk about, but I'll hang on to that for a second.
Nah, go for it.
Cool.
It was just I just wondering if you'd seen the Terminator trailer and was like,
I've seen a couple of the Terminator trailers, but like I said, I'm always cautiously optimistic towards these new films because I think they could be good, but The Predators has slightly spun me on that because that film was just god awful from start to finish.
It was kind of alright, but
that was the Shane Black directed latest Predator film where they try and weaponize autism.
I just looked at it and said, it's better than Alien vs Predator.
I thought it was better than Alien vs Predator, but none of these films have even been better than Predator 2, and that's not exactly a high bar. Yeah. None of these films are even getting to the first one.
And that's just, it's like Alien has Aliens, Alien 2, and Aliens. Like there's 3 good movies in that franchise.
Yeah, Alien, Aliens, and Alien and Aliens are the only 2 good ones.
Oh yeah, it's 1 and 2 is Alien and Aliens, and then it's Alien 3 is Resurrection, isn't it?
Alien 3 is just Alien 3. Alien 4 is Alien Resurrection, and that's where Joss Whedon just came in and went, I'm going to make a Joss Whedon movie. What do you mean she doesn't want to fuck people? She's a woman, isn't she? Dude, she's Ripley.
Josh said that.
She kind of wants to go a bit above the baser instincts, but I think they're trying to redo that again. But Sigourney Weaver's just sitting thinking, no, we'd done Alien and Aliens. That's all we needed. You brought me back for 2 other movies that no one liked.
We nailed it twice.
Yep.
Nobody does that. Stop trying to nail it a third time.
I mean, everyone's trying to remake Aliens. Everyone's trying to remake Terminator 2. It's not going to fucking work. The only people that done that successfully were the guys that made Halloween, because they had the original. John Carpenter was on board for that as well, wasn't he? That was his.
I can't remember if he's a producer or something like that.
I think he was involved, but
yeah. He gave the blessing at least. Yeah.
The reason why that worked is because they just thought, right, fuck it. There's so much shit out there that we need to cut out. Let's just cut out Halloween 2, start from the end of Halloween 1, and just a time skip from there, and let's make our own story that wraps this shit up. And it works because...
And then doesn't, because there's sequels.
And it doesn't because there's Halloween Lives, then Halloween The End or something fucking coming out soon.
Yeah.
But again, the first one was that good. I don't really care. So I'm hoping that Dark Fate is going to be less... What was the other one? Genesis, and slightly more T2. Because it'll be watchable that way. Because you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton. If you fuck that up, and you've got James Cameron there, if you fuck that up, Terminator should just stop. You clearly don't know what to do in the modern age with Terminator if you can't make that setup work.
And the thing is, you don't need to make a modern Terminator. Just make another Terminator movie. I don't know what I want, but I know I don't want what we've already had.
Yeah, I'd like something that pays homage to the old shit, but just builds on it. Like, again, what they did with Halloween. They just went, okay, we recognise the old film, we're going to make it in that same style, but we're going to do something totally different.
Yeah, we're going to play with all the known toys, but in a slightly new way.
Yeah, that's what Marvel have been doing for fucking ages. But the reason why I wanted to talk about the film that I wanted to talk about was Dark Phoenix. Right, okay. Because I was sent, I've not watched the full film, and I'm fucking glad that I haven't, but I was sent a shit ton of clips just by going, just from friends saying, dude, have you seen X-Men? And my reply was, no, I've been told it was bad. It got pulled from 200 plus theatres in America. And I went, no, you want to see why it's bad? And they showed me the ending scene, and I thought, and then ending scene was split in 2 parts. So it was about 5 minutes worth of really, really boring fight, and 4.5 minutes of really, really bad exposition from Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. Again, sounding like a very petulant child, just going, "Well, you want my power? You're gonna get it." And then she lifts up the enemy in Dark Phoenix is a race called the Dabari, and they worship the Phoenix.
Yeah,
and they're just like, "Oh, you're the new vessel for the Phoenix? Okay, we're coming to collect you. You're joining our team. We know you're one of us. The X-Men hate you. Come with us. We worship your powers." That kind of shit. And they're shape-shifting aliens that they can't die, and they're all just fucking invincible. And the fight to get them away from Jean goes on for way too fucking long. Right. Magneto's crushing metal around them, and nothing's fucking happening. Nightcrawler just looks at the camera and goes for no fucking reason, because someone dies, and he just sits there and shakes. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is boring. I've never been this bored in an X-Men movie before. Even Apocalypse had enough to keep me going through it. It wasn't a great film, but it had enough to keep me going throughout it. This just kind of limped on, and all of a sudden it gets to the end and you hear rumbling. It gets to the end car of the train, because this, I should have said that this all takes place in a train, and they're moving from the Dabari are moving from train car to try and find Jean. Right. And the closer they get towards Jean, the more X-Men get involved to try and stop them. Storm is up top sending down really, really low budget lightning bolts to people that look fucking awful.
The CGI in the X-Men movies has always been
pretty bad. Yeah,
they blow the money in the Quicksilver scene, because there now has to be a Quicksilver scene.
Quicksilver dies at the start of the movie. I'm like, oh well, he's going to fucking die. Let's get rid of him. And it keeps limping on, and then they get to the final bit where it's James McAvoy as Charles Xavier, the prick from Ready Player One as Cyclops, and Sophie Turner as Jean Grey lying out unconscious on a table. And then Xavier just says, "Take me to Jean." So he's standing here, mere millimeters away from Jean, and he says to Cyclops, "Take me to Jean." You can just limp over. I mean, I get you don't have legs, but I get that your legs don't work.
You have arms, bro.
Yeah, you could get there. And then it keeps going on from there, and it made me really glad I A, didn't go and see Dark Phoenix in the cinema, and B, didn't pay £15 for the fucking Blu-ray, because the YouTube clips were enough to make me think, I'm glad that Marvel Studios now own the X-Men.
It's weird that you mentioned it, because yesterday I watched a video by Filmento, he breaks down cinema and does a lot of weird stuff about writing side of things more than the actual camera work, but he broke down what he hated the ending of Dark Phoenix. Is the actual beginning, 2/3 of this movie are actually pretty good. There's a lot of conflict there. The scene
where they go to space and the Phoenix actually kind of takes her as the host. The conflict between Xavier and Jean saying, "Oh, you tried to hide me. You always knew this was coming because
you're using me when you say we're trying to protect me." Like,
I just wanted to provide you a family, that kind of thing. Because you get the sense that Xavier, even in any facet, in any way that they've ever done Dark Phoenix, you get the sense that Xavier has always known that this is coming. Yeah, like there's something out there that looks for strong telepaths, and she's the strongest of all of us. And there's always been that kind of, I only did it to protect you, that bullshit trope that they've been using since the 90s.
Yeah. And he was talking about the fact that the initial 2/3 of that, all that conflict is great. But then when you get to the new race being introduced towards the end, and then they try and rush through all of that kind of same exposition again of kind of it's all about protecting people, and it becomes incredibly stupid towards the end. And he says it's on par in his eyes with the Martha moment from Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's that bad? And you read the comments and people are like, yeah, watching this movie made me feel horrific.
I can't say that's the whole movie. It just becomes unnecessary and forced. Yeah. Because the Martha moment in Batman vs Superman, you could see what they were trying to go for. These two titans, essentially.
Maybe they're more human and alike than they think.
Exactly. You can see what they're trying to go for, but then you've got Ben Affleck, who was probably one of the best cinematic Batmen that we've had in a while. Yeah. Robert Pattinson said they're going to have a high bar to jump over. You had them going, "Why'd you say that name? How do you know? Wait, how do you know Martha? Who's Martha? I'm Martha. No,
I'm Martha." This Batman had a moment of absolute crisis. I'm Martha.
Alfred's just going, shit, he's at it again. Get the spot.
That's the way and take your medication.
God damn it. He's just sitting there with a tranquilizer, just going, "Master Grayson, pass me the tranquilizer gun." Master Wayne's at it. 10 cc's of bull trank. Bang.
I like the idea that he would constantly be following Batman around. Just he's always on the next rooftop with a rifle.
No, he's just he sends Robin at the phone. It's just, Master Grayson, he's frothing at the mouth again. Okay. Martha. I like that our interpretation of the Batman vs Superman. Batman is he's fucking retard.
he's snapped at some point.
Instead of going, I am Batman, he goes, me, yes, me, I'm Batman.
me, I'm Batman. Me, I'm Martha, man.
He takes his mask off and puts a wig on. Me, I'm Martha.
Well, if we're going to talk about snapped Batman characters, it's time to talk about Joker.
Talk about Joker.
Now, Dom has not seen this movie.
I have not seen this movie.
And many of you will not have seen this movie either, so I am going to try and keep it spoiler free. But this entire thing started because there was a Joker movie. We were kind of interested in it. We want to see how it was. We saw the first test shots of Joaquin Phoenix coming out of a building as the Joker, or as the Joker before he becomes the Joker. Arthur Fleck. Yeah. And we were, ooh, that's interesting. That piqued my the idea that it's more character driven. It's more about the acting. It's more about the person who becomes the Joker.
Yeah, it's more the brickwork.
What finally got me to actually go see it was when you text me to say there's Oscar buzz about this movie, and I'm like,
yeah, Oscar
buzz about a comic book movie is fucking rare. The Avengers get it on technical just about every time. I should be getting it.
Yeah, I think Avengers Endgame is definitely going to be taking some Oscars home this year.
Yeah,
and Black Panther, they won an Oscar, and fucking Suicide Squad won an Oscar.
It was best hair and makeup. Best hair and makeup
for Killer Croc, and Killer Croc looks like a roasted Goomba. But what definitely made me clue in was a few people that I know from uni said they literally went to see it once, and as they were leaving the cinema, booked tickets for the following day.
Yeah,
because they just thought it was so fucking good, and they liked one thing that is being praised is the fact that it doesn't lean too heavily on the Batman mythos. Because from what I've seen, again, spoiler-free reviews, it does mention Thomas Wayne. There's a part where he goes to see young Bruce Wayne, so it is there because you're in Gotham. You need to honour it somehow.
Yeah, but there's a few. There are Batman tie-ins that root it in the same way that like you can ground something in the real world. This is grounded in the Batman world.
Yeah, this is grounded in Gotham.
Every newspaper is a Gotham newspaper.
Yeah.
All the news is Gotham news. The late night show is set in Gotham. It's filmed in a live studio in Gotham. And it's like advertises itself as such. You also have there's the Waynes. There is also, I recognise the name Kane as a nurse. A nurse Kane.
Kane.
I think I've seen that somewhere to do with the Joker's backstory or something like that.
Kane is quite literally a nod to Bob Kane's wife, and Bob Kane made Batman.
Right.
So it's not in the. I mean, there's a Catherine or Kate Kane who is Batwoman.
Yeah. I'm like, I think I recognise that name from somewhere.
But I think because I watched a little here's all the Easter eggs that you missed in the movie type thing. That is literally just in there. Is remember Bob Kane's wife? So do we.
Well, I saw that and I was like, it's weird that I can definitely make out her name tag. I wonder if that's the thing.
Yeah.
But she appears at several points in the story, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I knew the Kane name was associated with something to do with Batman, and when we heard about the Oscar buzz, I was like, okay, this is going to be like a Joaquin Phoenix has gone all in the acting. He has, definitely he has. But he
starved himself for several days.
There's something so unnerving about that guy.
Yeah.
Just his body. There's several scenes where he's shirtless, and I don't know. Like I read up on his biography, and obviously he has a pretty tragic backstory of his brother dying of a heroin overdose, or cocaine overdose. I think it was.
That's River Phoenix.
Yeah,
that was. He was very famous child star. Kind of parlayed that into teenage years, and then just
massive OD. And Joaquin was there, and he like his backstory, like he had a car crash at one point in like 2006 or something, and of all the people to help him out of it, Werner Herzog, the documentarian / actor filmmaker guy, pulled him out of a car crash in 2006. I'm like, what? Who the fuck? you couldn't
the guy that made that Penguins movie?
So he has a very strange past, and I was wondering about there's something about his shoulders, like the way his musculature is, and there's something like one of his shoulder blades looked wrong.
Yeah.
Everything about, like, I don't know if that's just something he had and he's playing into it, and
Maybe.
also he's got that that face, the facial defect, which apparently is not a cleft palate, it is apparently a birthmark. He's stated that several times, but there's just something that's so unnerving about him, and he is a great actor. He's so committed to the role. He's never not Arthur Fleck. There's some things where he's not the Joker, but he's always Arthur Fleck, and Arthur Fleck always acts the same way, so you become used to the character, so that when the character starts to slide towards the end, because this is a film that is not fucking around when it comes to mental health. It's not preachy, it's not polite, it's not super progressive, it's not super woke about anything. It's very unapologetic about its way of looking at mental health as part of how you turn a man from just a nobody to the fucking Joker. And I'd say that one thing you've brought up a couple times, and I quite like this way of looking at the Batman and the Joker, is that they're both equally capable. They're equals, just on different paths. And all it took was one bad day to separate the two.
And that's why I personally love the character of the Joker, and from what you've said, I'm so glad that they leaned into that.
I don't think they are.
Really?
The way I'm looking at this film, the way I'm looking at Arthur, he was destined or doomed to become the Joker.
Right, so you're saying it was more, he was always heading towards this. It wasn't just the case of he had a bad day, or...
Well,
because they've removed the acid, haven't they? They've removed the Ace Chemicals thing. That was always the backstory of the Joker. He fell into the...
There's nothing about chemical vats. There's nothing about that. It's not... That's too cartoony.
It's all just societal pressures, that kind of thing, and his own demons.
When I'm looking at Arthur Fleck, I see someone who has... It turns out he has been broken before. And he has been taped back up together by society. What happens when that tape is removed and the person shatters? That becomes the Joker. This does not feel the same as you have two people who just happen to diverge and become completely different. This is a person who was on his own way down. It was going to happen. He could have been saved, theoretically. He could have, no human is irredeemable. Arthur Fleck just missed the chances, or Arthur Fleck never had those chances.
He was never afforded the same chances, that kind of thing.
Physically, because he could not afford them. I think there's a lot going on with that. There's a lot of stuff about the societal impact of... I mean, Gotham is always corrupt. Gotham has always been seen as a city of haves and have-nots. There's always that thing of obscene wealth with the Waynes. I mean, they own a multi-billion-dollar company, or several multi-billion-dollar companies in a city.
I think they own something like 3/4 of the entirety of Gotham. They're responsible for the... There's always a train line running through Gotham. And that's basically the Wayne's gift to Gotham.
It's the monorail or something like that.
That was one thing that...
That's part of the original Batman with Ra's al Ghul. Because it's a Wayne thing.
Because the Waynes are seen as... They are seen as Gotham. They are seen as the people who have built Gotham up.
And there's a lot of stuff going on there where you have the mega rich versus the poor, the common man. The entire film starts off with a radio broadcast about the idea of there being like the garbage workers are on strike. So there's just trash piling up throughout the city.
In reference to the actual strike in New York, where refuse workers were just refusing to pick up rubbish because I think it was a pay dispute or something. So there's... From what I've been told, there's a lot of people walking away from it saying, there's not just the comic book references, but this actually does reference... There's
a lot of lines that you could draw between society now. Not to do the Joker thing, we live in a society, but like you can see a lot of parallels between what's going on here and what's going on there, and we'll talk about how stupid that became later on. Because it got dumb. Not in the movie, in real world. Don't worry. Movies, consistently great. When people were talking about the Oscar nominations, they're legit. Like if it doesn't get nominated, it feels like... I went looking through like producers and directors who were involved in this. I don't think I could find anyone other than just the general company of DC movies being involved in both the Nolan movies and this one. There's maybe someday one or two people who are kind of crossed over. I get the feeling they made those Nolan movies and we're like, really? We don't get an Oscar nod for this? It's a fucking great movie.
Well, The Dark Knight was...
but never won anything.
Dark Knight did win some. Heath Ledger won a posthumous Oscar for Joker. But if he was alive, I guarantee he would have won the Oscar.
But there was never anything really given to the movie, and I get the feeling that like they made this movie as like a go ahead, I dare you to fucking refuse us an Oscar. Watch this shit.
I think it's also DC kind of realizing that we don't need to make movies that tie into a larger universe. They can just make little DC side movies. And I think that's what the next step is. They've done Joker,
Mm.
and this is the first in a series of movies called DC Black,
Right.
which is where they just take darker solo character stories and just make them live action movies. So they've done Joker. Apparently the next one's going to be Lex Luthor.
Okay.
And I think that could be pretty cool because you've got this tortured genius, and Lex Luthor is the smartest man in Metropolis, maybe even in the larger DC universe at some points. So doing something based on that, as long as it's not Jesse Eisenberg, I think it'd be fucking great.
And before the film started, there was also the trailers, so the Terminator one, and then saw the one for Birds of Prey.
Oh shit, I forgot that movie was coming out.
So did everyone apparently. I saw it and I was like, I cannot believe these two movies. Like, I'm about to see the Joker. I've seen how this looks, and then you have this Birds of Prey, like very Suicide Squad, Carry On.
Yeah.
It's the same like through line, I guess, from those movies. I can't believe these come from the same fucking comic book.
Yeah,
It's so different. This Joker movie is so muted, gritty, and real in a way that nothing that DC has done before. Like, you cannot make this Joker work with other stuff.
No.
You can't go from this weird claustrophobic psychological kind of like, not torture, but like kind of gradual thriller where everything's like about building pressure, and then like shift that into Aquaman riding fucking dolphins across the Pacific Ocean. Like, everything about that is wrong.
I think
Yeah.
I think even Todd Phillips himself is the guy who directed Joker.
Yeah.
In an interview said this version of Joker will never cross over with other
Just great.
Batman stuff. And I think from what you've said here just now, and what I've read on things like Twitter and Facebook and stuff, is a good thing, because having one self-contained story about a character that, despite being in a lot of movies and TVs, doesn't really get enough spotlight. Because you always just say, here's this weird torture character. No, let's delve into it a bit.
How do you
do another aspect of the Joker?
Yeah, because that's the other thing as well. Is the Joker works as a weak villain of the week, villain for Batman.
Yeah.
But the second you put him in the wider DC universe, fucked.
Yeah.
When you have like literal gods running around, like I think I remember it was a Family Guy joke where they say, "Why don't you just throw Joker into space?" What? I can't do that. No, just throw him into space. And like, Superman just goes, grabs the Joker and throws him into fucking space, and then comes back and goes, "There we go, done, dealt with, never an issue again." And then it happened in what's the one that it becomes this weird spin-off series? It's an Injustice series.
Yeah.
Where Joker, like, Superman punches through Joker's heart.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm just fucking done with your bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, I quite like that, because
that series
how else would you respond to someone tricking you into thinking you're killing your worst enemy, but you're actually killing your pregnant wife?
Yes.
What other reaction, if you're a superpowered being, would not just be rip their heart out?
Yeah. It works a lot.
Yeah.
It's a fun, like, a what if series. Its own like pocket universe. It's great.
It's also fucking insane. That storyline is just weird.
Oh, I guess
where
so
they're all
funny.
just popping weird kryptonite steroids to beat
because they all have to. They all have to base it off. The Injustice is based on like a video game.
Yeah.
So it's like they wrote the comic book to justify the video game. I was like, oh no wait, everybody took like mega steroids to be on that level.
Everyone is on these super pills that Batman never tells you what they are. Probably just like super steroids.
Yeah. It's PCP and kryptonite. He just like blended it together and was like, oh, drink this.
He's like grinding it up on mortar and pestle.
But everything, like, I was looking at this film and just observing it as a piece of like absolute filmmaking art, and it's fantastic. The lighting, the fucking props, like it's set in, I guess, the 80s roughly, because it feels like it's kind of Reaganomics, where you've got the split of like the casual people just hanging out in like hoodies and parkas and like jeans and t-shirts and stuff, and then you at the same time can go to the high end like Gotham society, and then you have like people in like full tuxedos, ball gowns to go see Charlie Chaplin movies on a giant projector screen. Like, oh, this is set in the Gotham 80s or whatever you want to call it. Because at one point it was like, Joker's wearing a hoodie. What the fuck? He's also riding like an AM track, or not an AM track, like a tram. But it's all covered in like graffiti tags. It's all very 80s aesthetic, and it's there's a lot of stuff that's very kind of a certain era but translates very well to ours. But then you've got, I mean, even like CRT screens. There's like all the TVs are CRTs. It's not a plasma screen monitor. It's like an old cathode ray tube TV as opposed to something that's more modern. And they'll even like the 80s kind of tame comedy stuff that's going on in the background,
Yeah.
where like you can't be risky, you can't have any blue comedy on a late night talk show. That's all very good at thematic stuff. But one thing I noticed, and I want you to try and keep an eye on it as well when you go see it, aspect ratio.
Yeah.
Normally Avengers stuff, it's all like, it's absolutely making use of the full screen.
Yeah.
At points this movie punches in.
Huh.
There's massive black bars on the side of the screen. I didn't notice it until the very end. But there's points of this movie I'm like, there's a giant chunk of screen not being used. And it's deliberate. Very deliberate. Because at certain points it is using big broad shots for like Joker travelling through his hometown and stuff like that. The movie is very good at beating you down visually with like language and stuff. And there's a lot of people who are worried about, and we'll talk about this, but I guess we can start talking about this, is that people would relate to the Joker. Relate to Arthur Fleck and become mass shooters. Because his reaction to being trod upon by the world is gun violence or violence, or is like losing his mind and losing his tether to reality and then hurting people. So a lot of people got very concerned about this and how it would relate to the incel issues that we have at the moment with people who are ostracized from society or removing themselves from society, lashing out in violence, and people would relate to the Joker in a weird way. For a 20-minute chunk of the movie, there was a point where you can see him as the everyman just being twisted and broken and shit on, basically. But before that is the Joker's very introduction. Like the very first scene of this movie, you can realise that Arthur Fleck is not a normal, healthy person. When he's sitting at a makeup dresser, applying his face paint, because he's a clown, and he pulls his mouth open to fake a smile, and he just keeps pulling, fish hooking himself to the point of tears.
Jesus.
Like, oh shit, we're in for this type of movie. That sets the tone for the entire film. You cannot relate to the Joker. If you can relate to him in small moments where the bills are due, mum's sick, he's just lost his job. There's little moments like that where you can relate to him. Other than that, he is definitively on a whole other wavelength that you are not capable of unless you are seriously psychologically ill. And he is. So I see no reason for this hysteria that's popped up.
I think as we touched on last week, I think it's people just trying to somehow, it's it's kind of virtue signaling, just going, remember what happened the last time they did a Joker movie? Someone shot up a cinema.
Yeah.
Okay, this film's meant to highlight other issues, and if people do see it that way, in no way are we saying that's something that we actively promote in our movie. And also the way the interview was handled with Joaquin Phoenix, where they said, do you think that what you're doing will
inspire
other people? That is a horrible thing to say to someone.
I mean, I was thinking about this. I'm like, that might be the worst question that's ever been asked in an interview since Christian Guru Murphy got Robert Downey Jr. to walk at that Channel 4 interview, where he was just like badgering him, like, hey, what about your drug use? What about that part of your life you're really ashamed of? Can you please talk about that some more? No.
I'm pretty sure he got told to stop it. He's now no longer allowed to interview people because so many people get annoyed at Christian Guru Murphy.
There was
like the Quentin Tarantino one.
Yeah.
It's just like, what are you going to say about violence? I've said all I need to say about violence. People are still going to see my movies. If they want to talk to me about it, I'll talk to them. That
Flamenco guy I mentioned earlier did a breakdown of when it's okay to leave an interview and used the Christian Guru Murphy Robert Downey Jr. video as an example.
Yeah.
And he should look, Robert Downey Jr. is being more than forgiving of this guy. He's like, I don't know who Christian Guru Murphy is. He's not someone I'm familiar with. But if someone did this to me, I'd have been gone by question 1.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, fuck you, I'm gone. But like you can see that question get played down. Robert Downey Jr. is very nice and very calm and very kind of respectful and saying, "Look, buddy, let's walk it away from this and go back to the movie I'm here to promote that we agreed
Iron
to."
Man 3.
Let's talk about this Iron Man movie because that's what you're fucking paid to do, and that's like the interviews and all this media hype about like this impending wave of violence because of a movie. I'm sorry, you people are fucking idiots. There's nothing relatable about this Joker. He is, as a whole other wavelength.
Yeah.
If there are mentally unstable people watching this movie, it's probably not best for them to watch that. If someone's a bit iffy and a bit, if someone has serious issues, this is not a movie for them. This is an intense psychological thriller.
Yeah.
This is about twisting people until they break, and the person who breaks is the main character. If that makes sense. I would say that the violence in this movie there's very few instances of violence, but when they're done, they are extreme.
Yeah, I've seen quite a lot of that. People were saying that the few aspects of the movie that they weren't too keen on were there were certain aspects of the story never really stuck to one key plotline. They started one plotline, they left that, and they went to another thing. It just kind of bounced around.
I don't think they're paying attention to
Again,
the movie.
I've not really seen the movie, so I can't really comment. Another point was just some guy taking the piss saying, at one point at the start of the movie, they talk about super rats. Then they drop this plotline forever. How funny would it be if Arthur Fleck goes to open his door and all of a sudden super rat?
I think at one point they do mention, actually they do come back to super rats thing. They do at the start, because they say, super rats, and then the late night show host, played by Robert De Niro.
Oh, okay.
It's fan-fucking-tastic, by the way. Like, Hidden Gem is him as kind of like old Stephen Colbert.
I mean, the whole film could be seen as a massive Taxi reference.
Yeah.
Taxi driver reference. Because the scene when he's dancing is very reminiscent of when Robert De Niro's dancing with the gun in Taxi.
Well, that dancing scene, like, you knew, like, they telegraph what's going to happen from a mile away, and when it happens, it's still really good. Like, it's, you know that gun's going off. You know he's going to be dancing there with a gun by himself in the room, and then all of a sudden, you know he's going to accidentally discharge that gun.
Yeah.
And it happens, and it's still fucking, like, it's hysterical. I laughed my ass off at it. I probably shouldn't have. But there's been there's like several moments in films like that where I'm like, I can see this coming from a fucking mile away, and it still hits really, really well. And they're like again, Joaquin Phoenix's acting in this film is impeccable.
Yeah.
They will be teaching his performance in classes for decades. And I think that this film really, you need to see this if you want to see what a great DC film could be. It's just a great, it's not even a great DC film, it's a great character study. And honestly, I left that cinema like with a camera in my bag thinking, I want to go film something. I don't know what it is.
Shoot something right now.
I want to go record somebody doing something right now, just in case something interesting happens. And that's how good this film is. It's phenomenal. I cannot wait for you to see this film.
Yeah, it's on my to-do list. But yeah, I think.
Do you want to talk about the shit show around it? There's been a couple of funny stories.
I've seen the shit show around it mainly because of I follow Lana Pierce through Funhouse, and I recently started watching her stuff through Funhouse, and I subscribed to her channel because she does some quite funny gameplay videos, and she has some quite good insights on things. And she was talking about how a lot of people are being triggered by their portrayal of mental health issues.
Right.
Saying that maybe they're to excess and you're glorifying mental health issues. And I'm just thinking, again, from what you've said, there's nothing about this that's glorifying mental health issues, but maybe you'd be able to speak to it more than I could. Having seen the film, is that on the money, or is this just people trying to get the views, trying to get the likes on Twitter, being woke as fuck?
I think it is people being woke as fuck, because this movie is not woke and progressive in its view of mental health, because it's set in the 80s. And the 80s mental health, if you even read a single article on it, was not exactly
non-existent.
The politest place to be. Pretty sure Reagan wanted them all kind of just thrown in the river.
Yeah, I think he wanted to put them on some form of island.
And if that island sank, so be it.
If there was a couple of just government guided missiles that sank that island, we can live. We'll live and learn.
Shit happens. And
adopt, adapt, improve. That's what we say.
there is a lot of things in this movie. Like, you could basically blame the Joker as an icon on mental health through this movie easily. At the same time, like, it's showing that that's why I say, this guy was doomed to become the Joker, because he's a second generation of people with severe mental health issues with no support network. And I think you could put that as either being it's mental health problem, or it's the fact that nobody came to help these people. There's a lot of parts to start where his mother, I think it's Penny Fleck, is saying that she knows Thomas Wayne, and if Thomas Wayne could see how we were living right now, he'd be stunned, he'd be shocked, he'd buy the building and renovate it just for us, because we used to work together. Turns out that she did know Thomas Wayne, but she has a narcissistic disorder where she thinks that she's more important than she really is,
right?
And that somebody would step in to save her if they just knew about it. So she's writing him letters constantly, and she has this weird delusion that she would be saved if only someone knew. And there is a bit of that where you think, maybe somebody should step in to save these people. It's not their fault. They're, as I say, second generation people born with severe psychological issues. Somebody should step in. I don't know if it should be the individual, as in Thomas Wayne, or would Thomas Wayne do it as a mayor, as a governor? Should the state do it? Should somebody get involved? And there are those questions sitting there in the movie. There is no answer to it. We just know that when you don't have someone, nobody steps in, nobody does anything to stop Arthur Fleck from becoming the Joker, all hell breaks loose. Because the Joker is an icon of a kind of counter, like his first act as the Joker is in the subway, and when you see that scene, it's fucking amazing. And it's followed up by the weirdest scene ever of him doing this weird kind of dance tai chi in a fucking bathroom, and you're like, this makes no sense. And then you sit there, you watch it, and you go, actually, now that I realise that this makes no sense to me as a normal person, to the Joker, this makes perfect sense. That's why it becomes a weird question. There's a weird cat and mouse game that you play with yourself, and it lasts right up until the very last scene of how much of this is real. And the film hints at it. The film really goes for that kind of, is this a real thing?
Yeah.
Is this part of Arthur's delusions? Is this part of something the Joker would tell himself as an origin story?
Yeah, I mean, that's always been the thing that I fucking love about the Joker, is no matter what version of the origin story you tell, Joker always backs it up with, well, I like my origin story to be multiple choice. Maybe you like this one. Yeah. And I think that...
And that's part of the thing, is there is no solid identity to the Joker.
Yeah.
There's a couple of hints, there's a couple of different versions of the Joker that all have different identities, but even then, those versions of the Joker can be like wiped away as not the real Joker.
Yeah, I mean, you had Jack Napier in the original one, but if you look into, because there was always tie-in comic books, even those tie-in comic books say that wasn't his real name, that was just the name we were given. Like Jack Napier's never been a real person, it was just an identity for the Joker.
Yeah.
And again, you say it was kind of an icon of, you know, mental health issues gone to excess.
Well, he's an icon of counterculture in that moment, because the continued escalation of rich vs poor is like a central thing that's always boiling away in the background, and the Joker is the right man at the right time because of his actions. I won't spoil it, but because of what he does something that kind of riles the masses. He is the spark that ignites the flame. He's the first man over the top to lead the charge against the ultra rich, and it becomes iconic for a lot of people, to the point where people wear clown masks in public as a sign of, we're fucking done with the rich. That becomes an icon, and he accidentally becomes the figurehead of a movement. He doesn't want anything to do with it, and at certain points actually revokes, or he just kind of says he doesn't want to be a part of this. What he's doing isn't political, because he still wants to be a comedian, he still wants to be the clown as a performer, but he's living this weird kind of double narrative of who he wants to be. And then when you see, like, the Joker side, the not political, but I guess he's an anarchist, so that is in itself political. When that anarchist side comes out, that's when you realize he becomes, when you see like the anarchist side, when he embraces who he really is, it's amazing. Like the framing of it, you're like, oh, like it is. You can see him. You can watch this part of the film and think this is a literal ascension moment. You can see him become this new version of himself, and it's. But as
finally, kind of steps up to that role that you say that he was destined or doomed to be.
Yeah, as a, like, you see that the moment of him actually publicly being the Joker for the first time, you're like, this was destined to happen. And I say, like, this movie is not woke and progressive enough in its view, because that would be the view at the time. It's just very unapologetic about showing it. And it's great for that. I like that. Yeah. I do like that they were, this is our stance, this is how we want to do this story. If you don't like it, you're not gonna like it. Sorry.
Yeah, if it's not for you, there's no redeeming qualities of this film.
We're not gonna make an apology for this.
But I think that ultimately helps a film like The Joker, if you just try and make the story based on what happened at the time and the issues that would have came up. Yeah. Being that kind of person at the time, I think you need to be unapologetic. I think you just need to say, here's our film, love it or hate it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people love it.
This deserves the credit, the praise it's getting. I would definitely recommend it. And I'd recommend, for a laugh, you go read the outrage, the drama stories about the people at the screenings of this.
I've heard a lot of people walked out because the violence was very, very over the top, and I'm
talking about like random, like incel fear.
Oh, right.
Like, I've not heard of. I could imagine someone walking at this, and I've had people contact me saying, because I posted up on Twitter and Instagram, like I was going to go see the Joker movie, and people were like, "Can you tell me how it is? Because I don't know if I'll like it or not." And I've messaged several people back saying, I don't think you will like this movie. I think this is a very uncomfortable movie. It relies on building tension. It relies on uncomfortable moments. Even like Phoenix's laugh as the Joker is on par with Mark Hamill's. It is fucking iconic when you read into or when you start being shown by the movie. This laugh, it's not his. It's not why. This is not him laughing. It's
a
something
defense
else.
mechanism or something, isn't it?
It's a nervous response.
Yeah.
It's a weird tick he has in a way, and when you start seeing it through that lens, you're like, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
It adds a whole new level to like that laugh, and it adds several layers to that character. And when you start to realize what sets it off, you're like, oh, and then there's a little bit of explanation as to why that might happen. You're like, okay, this makes a lot more sense from a very kind of damaged individual point of view. But as I say, like, it's terrifying, and it's uncomfortable for long periods of this movie. You don't know what's going to happen, and that's part of the fun of the Joker is when he snaps, what's he going to do?
Yeah.
He can be stable for 45 minutes during a dinner conversation, and at 46 minutes, he flips the table, shoots up the fucking restaurant, and disappears through the ceiling somehow. You have no idea he had that planned the whole time, but he just has that in him to go from 0 to 100 in less than half a second. But the the stories that have come out about the like people being ejected from the cinema for being a bit twitchy. One guy just had like a bit of a neck twitch, like he just had a thing, and he was ejected from the cinema by security. There was I was watching, it might be in a Nick Rekieta stream. Actually, Rekieta Law for more of the Vic Mignogna situation, and he has there was a guy in his chat claiming to be like private security. He says, I have worked the entire weekend because of this fucking Joker movie. I've been posted at a cinema just in case something happens. I couldn't do shit about it, but having security guards there apparently has been a fairly standard procedure in the US. Obviously, we have none of that issue because we don't have any gun violence.
We don't have access to guns, but still, I think
there was 2 people ejected in a Chicago theatre as well for blowing smoke at people, which just basically being a dick.
Yeah.
But it's nothing to do with it. But all these like comic book websites desperate for clicks are printing all these stories. So, oh my god, the ridiculous behaviour at the Joker movies. I'm like, dude, 2 people were ejected in Chicago. Like, it's not a Chicago movie unless somebody gets dragged out by the fucking police. Like, it's a theatre in Chicago. Do you know what Chicago's an absolute nightmare nowadays? Like, it's not. This is not bad behaviour. This is just like, this is statistical behaviour in a cinema when you have hundreds of people sitting down and watch a movie. This is nothing but you're wasting time reporting on this. I sent out a tweet this morning from like retweeting, it was comicbook.com or something like that.
Yeah, comic book resources or something.
And I said, if you'd asked to print this in a physical newspaper, the editor would have slapped you in the face for wasting fucking ink on this story. It's a non-story. Get the fuck over it. Yeah,
it really annoys me because it is just more clickbait bullshit. It's people just going, oh, the geek community's being prejudiced for being asked to leave a cinema. Like, no, it's people are heightened because of, you know, what happened the last time a Batman movie came out. No, I mean, well before Batman vs Superman, the last time Joker appeared in a Batman movie, bad things happened, which is why I think in Suicide Squad they cut Joker way the fuck down. And
it's just because we're now more aware of what's going on with the incels and this violent,
what's
toxic
going on
community
with other people that could
exist.
be influenced by this movie.
And people who do, there are a lot of these guys that do view the Joker as an anarchic icon. Like, he is.
People see him as a guide, and it's definitely
it's the wrong person to be following.
Yeah, I mean, be more Batman, less Joker.
You can,
in fact, maybe not be Batman, because Batman's he's got his own issues. He's got depression. He's got obsessive compulsive disorder. He's
his own whole like bag of issues, and just
poisons himself with the most dangerous poisons known to man, just so he can build up a body immunity to it.
I don't see why there was this massive uproar about. I mean, maybe it's just because we're in the UK, we're immune from the whole shooting up the cinema thing. But I do not see this wide hysteria. Like, the hysteria of this is more of an issue than the actual idea of violence by people in a cinema. There was probably the amount of wasted ink that has gone into this, and the amount of fear this has caused for people. Like, this is probably, like, it's had a phenomenal opening weekend. It's something like 98 million or something.
It's a great opening, but
for an October weekend, it's fucking absurd. Like, it's a great launch, but at the same time, like, you've probably kept people away from the cinemas for seeing a great piece of cinema because of some weird, like, preordained bias against people who don't like women on the internet.
I think it's just, again, from the people posting the articles, I think it is a complete fucking waste of your time, because all you're doing is just you're stirring into this mass hysteria, this mass fucking chaos machine, and I think that's definitely the wrong way to go, because I'm going to go see it. Chances are I'm going to fucking like it because it's a good DC film.
And we don't get those that often.
We don't get those that often, and it's a good character film.
Yeah.
So don't dissuade people from going to see it, because too many people just go, oh fuck it, I'll download it. No, actively go to the cinema, support your local cinema, go and see this. And saying people, other people saying mass hysteria because of what could potentially happen maybe at some point in the near future because of Joker.
Yeah. You may also get hit by a bus on the way to see this film.
You may also get eaten by a shark that flies out of the fucking water and decides to chomp you.
This idea that we should let fear govern our lives is disgusting.
It's stupid. It is really stupid,
and it really annoys the shit out of me when I hear it, because it's just not the way you're supposed to live. You're not supposed to be governed by this fear, and it's very telling that it's only the media that does this. Yeah. No, there's not people in the cinema. There's not people going up to each other and going, "Did you scared about going to see the Joker? Because you might get shot."
Yeah,
it's
definitely. Again, I think we're lucky because in the UK we don't have widespread access to guns. If you want access to guns, you need to be some kind of armed response unit for the police.
Farmers can have shotguns.
But I think it's something to do with the ammunition that they use.
It's certain types of shot, and then you've got hunters, and it's very limited access to.
We don't have that, and we're very comfortable over here thinking the worst thing that can happen to us is we might get knifed or you might get the shit beaten out of us.
Yeah.
But most people in the UK and most people probably around the world just realise that this is a movie meant to highlight a very, very disturbed character.
Yeah.
It's not meant to highlight those same characteristics in other people.
Yeah.
It's just meant to be entertainment.
It's a portrait of a very broken person, and pretty good odds that no one you know is this broken. Yeah. Let's hope so. But I definitely recommend that. Ignore the fucking nonsense coming out, because this thing is, it's only designed to drive clicks. It just tells you
100%.
All these people live in an economy fueled by fear, and they are going to make you scared to keep their jobs.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting. But
I think that this whole this claim that a lot of people are stating that this will influence other people. It may influence a certain group of people,
but I get the feeling if you were inspired by this movie, you were going to do it anyway.
Yeah, if you were inspired by this movie, that is just literally the spark that set off the bonfire.
Yeah, it's not even a spark that set off the bonfire. It was a spark next to a bonfire that was already raging.
Yeah.
But there are one other group of people who are affected by this storm.
Yep.
Who might those people be?
There's one other group of people that you might not think would be affected by a movie like The Joker, and it's the group of people that always get affected by any new comic book movie that comes out, any new popular piece of media that comes out, and those are the cosplayers. Because those cosplayers will see, or certain cosplayers, not all cosplayers, will see the fact that this is how this Joker acts, and when they cosplay this character, that's how they need to act. Right. And that is probably one of the worst things that you can do. And I'm using this as a very loose segue into talking about my adventures at MCM Comicon last weekend. Last weekend.
Yeah, I think it was
maybe 2 weekends ago. It passes by, the week after Comicon always passes hella quick.
And that's because you have the flu and you get all kind of drowsy.
I was floored for 2 days.
Yeah.
I couldn't. My nose was all stuffy. It was horrible. But it was, for the most part, I'd say it was just a really, really good weekend. I got to meet some really cool people. I met the guy that voiced Beerus, Jason Douglas, really fucking cool guy. Happy to sit and chat away if it wasn't for the massive queue of Dragon Ball fans behind me. Met Ian Sinclair, voice of Whis. Again, just a fucking good dude to talk to. Really happy to talk about. Annoyed that his character's not in Dragon Ball Fighters.
I would be too. Because
the first thing I asked was, do you think you'll ever... I said, how annoyed are you that Whis isn't in Dragon Ball Fighters? And I said, you're annoyed. Every time I play Beerus at the front of my team in Dragon Ball Fighters, I have to see me warp in and stand to the right to let Beerus come forward. And I went, you need to get on to Bandai Namco and just hammer them, say, we want Whis. And it's like, well, they might be doing another season. I just went, if there's a vote, I'm voting for Whis. And it's like, cool. Just really, really cool guy. I met Nolan North.
I want it to be Whis, but like in brackets, holding back. Whis holding back. You can go to
literally tied behind his back. Or just, yeah, I think I'd be cool. Just seeing Whis actually go full bore on someone, because you see him when he fights Broly. He's hitting him on the head.
He's just toying with him.
Yeah, he's just like, oh cool, this is funny.
He's been, we talked about how heavy the dumbbells you lift quite a lot. He's the announcer for that show, and he is going ham on the mic. He's just leaning into it. It's such a ridiculous show that he's perfect for it, because as Whis, he's got this ridiculous, like, kind of charming but funny, weird personality. It just comes across great in that show. But he sounds like a cool guy to hang out.
He's a really cool guy, and he always does this thing where he's willing to sit and talk to the fans for fucking hours. And there was a woman there with her daughter. And her daughter was a huge fan of Ian Sinclair, and he was running around the con with her. They were going up to stalls, like Ian Sinclair was carrying her around and shit like that. And she's like, dude, you're going above and beyond. You don't need to do that. You could just sit behind you could pull a Steve Cardenas and just Steve Cardenas, the Red Ranger from the old Power Ranger show that we used to watch.
All right,
fucked off for 2 hours and didn't come back.
Jesus,
no one was in his line. He just went, I'm out. He just disappeared for 2 hours. There was people there waiting on him, and they were trying to get in touch with him, but he just disappeared for 2 hours.
Did you see the video? I think it was on Philly D last night, and it was the YouTubers who charged like 50 quid for a meetup, and did like a photo op with like the 4 of them, and then they had a fan come in, and nobody like perks up for the photo. Everyone just kind of. They're all just kind of
get the photo done.
They're all just kind of like, just get on with it, and it's horrifying. Like, when you have these fan experiences that you have, and it's like, I get to meet this person. They're so professional. It was so fun, but it was personal. But I know at the same time he's gonna have that same interaction with like 100 people behind me. Like when you compare that to what this video is, you're like, oh my god. You're waiting an autograph line, right?
Yeah, I paid to meet Jason Douglas and Ian Sinclair. That was £50 because it was £25 each, which is not too bad.
That's not bad.
That's
a bit normal.
It's not great, but the most expensive one was Nolan North at 36 quid.
But that's Nolan North.
And that's Nolan North. He's there each year, and I bought a T-shirt, the new Retro Replay T-shirt.
Yeah. If you don't know who Nolan North is, Google a video game character.
Yeah,
he voices that.
Google Uncharted, Last of Us.
Now just Google a video game character.
Yeah, just Google any video game that you can
think of. He's actually the original whack noises from Pac-Man.
Yeah, he's in
there. Big facts.
Big facts. We're dropping big facts here. Big knowledge.
Yeah. Big brain time.
200 IQ plays. But yeah, I was sitting talking to him, and when I went to meet Nolan North, I had this art print of Deadpool, and I said, could you sign that, and ask him to put a quote from Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Yeah.
It's just says, feel the love of a hyper combo. And it was like, okay, that's pretty fun. I'm going to get that put down. And he noticed me limping. He went, I was like, I said, I noticed you limping over there. Is your knee all right? And I went, oh yeah, it's just an old rugby injury. He went, oh, you play rugby? And I was like, yeah. And then I noticed the queue was standing behind me. I thought, fuck it, Nolan North's talking to me. I'm going in. I was like, this is where'd you play? And I said, front row. And he said, he just said, just the interest, how many injuries you had. And I said, I've had plenty, but none of them have been concussions. And he went, let's see, if you're American football, you'd have been retired by now. I was like, cool. And it was just it's just a really fucking cool guy to talk to. But talking to some of the other people that were waiting in line behind me, again, people with Power Rangers t-shirts on, just going, oh, I went to see Steve Cardenas yesterday, and he was just kind of, thank you, literally signing shit. Next. Get this done.
Frisbeeing photos at them.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you've got the human ray of sunshine at the end of the row that is Charles Martinet, Mario.
Oh right, yeah.
He was just fucking happy.
He was at that?
Yeah, Mario was there.
Holy shit.
My brother and James Argic met him. Fuck it, I hate calling him by his streamer name. Our buddy James was there, and he came up to me at the end of it, and he got his copy of Super Mario Sunshine, and he went, dude, find something with Mario's face on it and go and talk to him. You need to go and talk to this guy. And when my brother was around getting his copy of Skies of Arcadia signed, which is an old school Dreamcast RPG, where he played a character called Vigoro, who was this kind of over amorous, like, playboy type thing, who's had this oversized codpiece where he had his gun.
Right.
Had this weird club gun thing, and his main attack is he would put the gun in front of the codpiece and it would extend out. It's a very Japanese game. And he came over and he opened the case and went, oh, Skies of Arcadia, why do I remember that? And my brother said, do you play the character called Vigoro? And he went, shit, did I? And he went, yeah, he did. And he went, oh, I remember now. And he started signing quotes from it. And he sat and spoke to Gordon for so long that the people behind him were just going, this is cool and all, but hurry up.
Really glad you're having your moment there, but come on, time is money,
just
people.
Absolute human ray of sunshine. We went to see a panel with Jason Liebrecht, who is Champa from Dragon Ball Super.
All right, yeah.
And I had Ian Sinclair, Jason Douglas, and Charles Martinet were there, and they were just answering questions back and forth. And 9 times out of 10, the other 3 guys just put the microphone down because Charles Martinet was just taking up so much of their time. So he's just like, I'm going to give you my experience because I've been doing this shit a long time. And the interesting thing is, every single Mario game that he's recorded for, 2-hour session, full game.
Huh?
Because what does Mario say? He does jump noises. He
Hey-o,
goes
yappo, yappo. Like that's it.
No, that's it. It's not much. Like he said, he recorded Mario Kart Tour, which is the new mobile game.
Yeah.
Done that whole thing in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Because it's just like he has to do the whoa, 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 whoa. Like when he's spinning out, he has to do that shit.
He doesn't have to like have dialogue with Luigi about like their dying mother or anything like that.
He's like, Luigi, mother's a dead.
Oh no!
She died of the cancer.
We're making the pasta now.
Eat up a mother. Eat up a mama. She's trying to spoon feed his dead mum spaghetti.
The meatball just rolling down the chest.
Just spilling onto your new trousers.
Mama, no.
Luigi, it's time to face the fact. Mama dead.
I like this, Luigi. Mario just has to deal with the fact that Luigi can't deal with his mom's dead.
Daisy sitting there in the corner, just black eye, just going, I tried to tell him. But yeah, just meeting the people was so much fucking fun. And we went to the Retro Replay live show.
Right.
Which they just fucking ramped up from last year. Because last year it was just introduction, sit down, play games. This time they came out, they had bits, they had Cyanide and Happiness animated shorts.
No way.
Yeah, they've done like they came out singing to Africa by Toto.
Right.
They came out singing to that, and they played the game for a bit. Then the two of them just started running around the room singing. What the fuck's the name of the song from Aladdin? Whole New World.
Whole New World, yeah.
And the two of them are just like taking the piss. One of the people who I know from high school, her sister's phone got nicked. Troy Baker was just running around recording himself with her phone. So if there's I think her name on Twitter, if you want to see the video, is Ginger Bexygram. It's her sister.
Right.
Her sister got her phone nicked, and Troy Baker's just running around with her phone. It's pretty cool. And the two of them just fucking killed it.
I did have a good laugh when I saw Ginger Bex post up an image of a t-shirt she got, and it just says hentai, you know, that love story between that girl and the octopus.
Oh, there's tons of those shirts.
I saw that, I was like, oh shit, I wish I had that shirt. I don't know what
dude,
it is.
I mean, I can get you one.
Alright, nice.
Dude, if you want one, I can get you one.
Interesting.
Next month I can get you one.
If I give you the money now.
If you give me the money now, next month I can get you one.
Okay.
Like, I will shake your hand right now if you want one.
Deal's done, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it.
XL.
We have audio proof. There's
legally
you
an XL or 2XL?
At least double XL.
Alright, cool, because I have it large and it's tight. So
right, definitely double XL.
I've got the double XL, right? It should come out about 10 quid or something.
That's dirt cheap.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get you. If you want one, I will get you one.
Alright, I don't know where you're getting it from, but it sounds like stuff
I have my ways.
I have my ways.
I got my connections.
Alright.
Like I said, meeting people, and even meeting people that are also into retro replay.
Yeah.
And the convention was, after the show, which is fucking amazing because at the end of it they threw out free posters, and for some strange reason, if you throw something at me, even if I'm not looking, I'll catch it. So they were throwing posters over my head, and I was sitting talking to them. I was like, "Yep, fuck, I've already got one." I'm sitting there with that.
Dom, I guarantee you're going to regret saying that in a podcast. Someone is going to sort of randomly meet a fan, and it would just throw shit at you randomly from across the street just to see what happens.
If you're going to throw shit at me, I will throw it back at you. So be wary of that. Caveat emptor, bitch.
I will catch it and I will return that motherfucker.
And I got a mean right arm, by the way. I got a good throw. But so there were posters getting flung over my head, and I was just like, really, like, there's people behind me trying to catch them. I'm really sorry, I can't stop. So I'm just like grabbing them, throwing them behind me. I got one for myself. I was like, right, put that into my bag, and I was like, there's going to be another one. Stop throwing them this way. I'm a fucking monster. Eventually, there's someone standing in front of me going, I caught one, but did you really need to catch them all? I went, I can't stop.
I have accidentally trained myself through rugby to catch everything that's thrown at me at any angle.
And they were,
you didn't need to pick up the lassie in front of you and lift her up.
Catch one. No, but one poster, the poster that I actually kept, got thrown in front of me, and I just went, I know this guy's going to grab it, but fuck it. I stuck my hand out and caught it. Then they all just kept getting flung over me. I was like, eventually one of their handlers, one of the Troy and Nolan's handlers, came over and went, did you keep all those posters? Like, no, I was throwing them behind me.
Yeah.
And she went, well, you didn't need to catch them all. I went, I know I didn't. I couldn't stop.
I couldn't help myself. These hands.
Why are they so efficient? But my main issue with Comic-Con this year is, once again, every fucking convention I go to, y'all motherfuckers is nasty. Because you don't wear deodorant. You don't bring deodorant with you. And half of you have got these little fan things to cool you down that just blow the smell at me.
Oh, the little electronic, like...
No, it's like a fan. Like an actual Japanese... like geisha fan.
Yeah.
And they're just blowing the stank smell at me. At one point, there was some dude that sat in front of me at the Charles Martinet panel. And he just sat there and he kept doing this to try and air it himself.
Just Dom was rotating his shoulders, by the way.
Yeah,
like,
I was like, but he didn't do that. It was like he was flapping his arms.
I know, but like the full shoulder
the
rotation is like with the arms out, so you get a whole shoulder thing.
He was just trying to get some air about him, and the smell was just getting blown at me. I unashamedly sprayed deodorant at him. And he went, what did you do? I went, dude, the smell. He went, oh, it's Comic-Con, everyone gets a bit hot sweaty. And I went, yeah, but most of us go and freshen up with deodorant. It's nasty.
You motherfucker just smile at people, and you don't have good teeth, so shut the fuck up.
But that was, I will say this, it is getting better. A lot of people that I'd seen this year had deodorant and stuff in their bags, because there was people walking about, and you know how they have the side pouches for water bottles? Mm-hmm. If there wasn't a water bottle in there, 8 times out of 10 there's a tin of deodorant just to spray and freshen.
It's weird to think of that as a outside of the context of a geek convention. That's weird. Like, could you imagine doing that down the high street to go to the shops? That'd be just creepy. What the fuck is wrong with that person? Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. But
in the context of a geek con, actually kind of nice to see. And
there was a few times we were walking through the kind of main conventions. Like, you've been there, the big everything goes in kind of queues. Yeah. You just kind of shuffle behind someone. You're like children learning to walk, because you can't walk quickly. You just have to waddle behind someone. Yeah. There was one point where there was a guy in front of me, and he just sprayed deodorant over himself, and it caught me in the mouth. I went, oh dude, I'm so sorry. I went, no, you don't need to apologise. You're doing the right thing.
You're doing your part.
You're doing your part. Join the militia.
Salute Eden.
Well done, sir. And he went, oh cool. And I was coughing at the time. I was like, are you okay? I went, yeah, I'll be fine. Just, I'm glad people are taking the fucking hint. Right, so you're getting better with your hygiene. It's on the up. But where you're on the decline is being harassing dicks, because so many fucking stories after the convention happened, because I'm on the Facebook page. I think it's just called MCM Comicon Scotland. I'm on that. So many people just going, why is it when I wear a costume that shows off a bit more skin, people just think they have carte blanche to grab, poke, prod, ask me to do weird sexual things? And I just thought, okay, I did a bit more digging into this, and I just kept looking down. I won't name names because they had enough to deal with at the time. I'll keep it all neutral. There was people that were getting asked, particularly cosplayers that were wearing maybe sort of scantily clad costumes, like cosplaying female characters, like, could you bend down and point, like, could you bend down and look directly at the camera? It's like you're just trying to get a cleavage shot. And then that was pretty bad as it was, and people getting harassed when they're eating. If there's a cosplayer sitting eating, they're going, can we please get a picture with you? And like, I've just bought a £8 hot dog. Can I just eat the hot dog?
Can we at least enjoy it while it's warm?
Yeah, like, and people getting photos taken, or cosplayers getting their photo taken while they're not paying attention. So people just walking up, sticking the camera in their face. Like, that's pretty bad. But a few that I seen were cosplayers who were just getting the pushy people coming up to them. Because I will say that most of the people that I seen getting the picture taken, because a few people, James that I was there with, he uploads all this shit through his own Twitter, through his own Facebook page. He genuinely likes taking photos, and he likes talking to people that way. So he was going up to saying, do you mind if I take a photo? Being completely respectful, click, done, shake hands.
Having a basic amount of human decency.
Yeah, I mean, just be a decent human being.
Yeah.
And a couple of times they were asking me, oh, can you hold this for me? That's fine. But other people were just going, oh, can we get a picture with you? I'd rather not than now. I'm kind of tired. Like, oh, come on, it'll be fine. Just like come in, like forcing their arm around them, bringing them in, snapping a photo, and there's no smiles in that.
Yeah.
And then it gets progressively worse from that when there's cosplayers with props, and they were going, oh, can I touch the prop? And there's no, I don't want you to touch the prop. It took me a lot of time. It's very fragile. Just can you leave it? No, I want to touch it. Come on, it'll be fine. 5 minutes.
Come on.
like ripping it out their hands and shit. Because there was a Thor cosplayer who made his own Stormbreaker, the thing was fucking huge, and it was pretty weighted. You can tell that he used maybe denser foam, like he carved out the foam. And somebody said, "Oh, dude, can I just hold it for 2 seconds?" And he went, "Nah, man, it's kind of heavy. I'd rather just keep hold of it that way I don't lose it." And he went, "Nah, come on, it'll be cool." And he said, "You can let you look at it. I'll hold it, and you can look at it." And the guy just went, "Nah, man, I want to hold it," and took it out of his hands. And at that point, he was with his friends, and he went, "Fucking give it back, or we will get you kicked out of the con." And it just kind of limped on quite a bit. And then more stories came out of cosplayers wearing cloaks and stuff, and people saying, "Oh, can I touch your cloak?" And they go, "No, no, no," and then just aiming for the breast area.
Right.
A couple of people getting grabbed, a couple of asses getting grabbed. A lot of people asking, "Can I lay across your thighs? Like, can I lay my head against your thighs?"
That's a weeb thing. That is unashamedly a weeb thing. It's a thing that happens.
Yeah, but it's still not a good thing to ask a cosplayer in the middle of a con. A lot of cosplayers have now said they're never going to cosplay again because of the experience that they've had, and the fact that MCM have done nothing about it except put up a few posters saying we run an anti-harassment policy.
Yeah,
it's not good enough. I think the next step up from that would be have people literally just wandering around the con, volunteers just keeping an eye out for this shit.
I don't think you can give that to a volunteer. I think it needs to be staff. I think
paid staff, even fucking security, wander around the halls.
The actual elevation of security. So security going around saying you're in breach of our cosplays not consent anti-harassment
policy
campaign. You're being ejected from the con.
Yeah,
get out. No bullshit.
I think unashamedly they need to start doing that because it's not just. It's not just what you prototypically think. It's young males going up to females doing it. It's vice versa.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of people that do the full cosplay route. If they want to play a character that's maybe a bit more bulky and muscular, they will put in the effort. There was a couple of people cosplaying as Goku and Vegeta that had a bit of definition, a bit of muscle about them, and they were getting harangued by older women just going, come on, let's get a fucking photo, like grabbing the guy's biceps, putting a hand around the shoulder and kind of putting a hand on the thigh and stuff. And you could clearly tell that these guys are uncomfortable. It's not just a one gendered issue, it's all these people, and it's turning people away from cosplay. And that's part of the reason why you go to a convention, is because cosplayers want to meet other cosplayers. If you're slowly and systematically eliminating those people and removing the fun for those people, the con itself is going to become populated by just regular people that just want to go there and buy stuff and don't want to interact with each other. It's just going to become a blinkered event where people are just going, I want to go to this stall, thank you for your purchase.
Or even worse than that, you have your layers of a cosplay community being destroyed, which is a shame, because part of the joy of a geek convention is realizing you're not alone.
Yeah, your
geeky passion is shared by thousands of people who all live in driving radius of you. That is honestly
the beauty of Comicon, especially in Scotland, because the anime community is not as thriving over here as it is in other places.
There is a pretty good community. There's enough to put on like film festivals and stuff every now and
again. It's getting better, but it's still not. It's still not as big when we were in school. It's just, oh, you like anime? Oh, cool. Now it's more of a.
There's two of us now.
There's two of us now. It's becoming better and better from that, but it's still. I think there's still the overhang from that, where it's just anime is this weird,
just in
subculture
general,
thing.
Geek communities, when you realize how big it is, it's very reassuring. It's very good for someone to realize that it's not just you in your bedroom alone at night talking to like 30 strangers that you know on the internet. Yeah, and then you realize, oh, actually that. You recognize that, but wait, that person's from my high school. Yeah, that's weird. Like that's good for a young person to learn as a nerd. Because then it also makes you realize, oh wait, you still have to have some social graces to avoid being this type of dick that we're talking about here. Yeah. But if you get rid of cosplay communities, like people who are cosplayers are probably going there for the same reason as other geeks. It's nice to see that your geeky hobby in cosplay has a community there as well. That must be so reassuring that there's other people you can talk to, you can network, you can branch out, you can meet other people with similar interests, and you can get talking to those people, so you have a community around you, which is nice, or get involved in the community. If you take away those people, if you got rid of a core cosplay community, the worst scenario possible is that community, that group, has a few people who have bad experiences. As a group, they reject the cosplay next year, or they don't get involved, or they just don't go next year. Next year, a bunch of really green new recruits go in, like new cosplayers, people who kind of got into it last year, go there for fun just to see what it's like, and then all of a sudden are ambushed by the same issues that were happening last year if the con doesn't deal with it, and they have an absolute fucking nightmare of time. Could you imagine if you had like somebody in the first 6 months to a year into cosplay, who wasn't there last year, doesn't know what happened to the cosplayers at last year's event, going in and receiving the same treatment. That person is gone. They're done. They're out of the community, the nerd community, the cosplay community. They're just gone. They disappear, and they carry a resentment around with them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I do think that's something that realistically the cosplay community that's present in Scotland is probably going to have to face, because more and more people are seeing what's happening to them and just thinking this is happening year in year. So many people are going to these conventions and getting harassed. We're just going to stop doing it, and then they become the sort of the old head of the team that steps away. The new players come in and they just think, oh well, if this is what cosplay is like, I'm going to badmouth cosplay because I don't feel safe. I'm going to tell people don't go into cosplay because this will happen to you, that will happen to you, and that ultimately just make the cosplay community disappear. It'd be a terrible thing for it to happen, because, like you said, the company of going to these going to the Comic Cons and realizing that there's just this company about it. Just think, oh right, you cosplay, I cosplay, and there's just this fucking friendships that are developed because of it. If you're not creating a safe space for that to flourish, you're basically it will die, and you're constricting a whole group of people that like to do this thing, and you're removing that platform for them essentially.
I've been lucky enough to have a couple of hobbies that I've really enjoyed throughout my life. I cannot imagine what would have happened if there had been just one event that had just threw me off of one of them. And just absolutely I would have lost if you lost faith in the nerd community as a whole because of one event, that's heartbreaking. Imagine having an entire life of passion, or even just a couple months of absolute investment in an idea, in learning new skills or building yourself up to this moment of being part of a community, and then all of a sudden it's oh, it's fucking toxic and disgusting, I'm out. That'd be absolute heartbreaking. No one should waste that time. You need to have a better convention that really does stick to the cosplay is not consent, no harassment policies.
I think it's part of a naivety on behalf of ReedPop, who I think they leave it up to the convention goers to sort it out themselves, which I think is just complete naivety. I think they need to, like we said earlier, you need to have some kind of security, paid security, wandering around going, wait, you grabbed that lassie, clearly not into it, she never gave you permission to do that, you're out of here. I don't think you don't need to operate a strike system. It's just get out. You're clearly damaging to this whole convention. Get the fuck out. And I can maybe see them doing that. But they don't even do that at San Diego. They have security placed at checkpoints, and they have security at entrances and exits to the convention. But ultimately, they don't even do that. Because as far as I know, you probably might know differently, that harassment might not be as big an issue in San Diego.
That's a bigger convention. It's with San Diego Comicon. It's a weird example because it's the flagship, and it became part of a release schedule for big studios like Marvel, like Disney, to unveil new properties and stuff and new movies that we're working on. It shifted away from cosplay in a way. There's other events that are more famous for cosplay. There are still people that show up in costumes, but I think that's more, I'm not here to debut my weird anime character, I'm here to show that I like comic books and I'm dressed as Magneto or something like that. I'm here in a more general geeky outfit, and it's not all in on cosplay. Like I'd say an event like BlizzCon, that's all in on the cosplay. Balls to the wall on cosplay for Blizzard characters, although maybe not this year. Well, they've got their own Blizzard's bullshit to work with. And I have some things to say about that as well, but no, just we'll go back to conventions and just say but if you're actively not policing this, it's more for you, because you will suffer for will suffer for it. You will suffer massively, because I'd say about 70% of the people that attend cons go in costume. There's a lot of people cutting about in costumes. I haven't been to a con in a while. Actually, no, that's a very high number. I was say, think about it. I'd actually flip it to about 30. Yeah, I'd say 30 to 40% of your people are showing up in costumes. That cosplay element disappears. Just say we'll go for the jugular and say if we're acting on the information that has disappeared, you lose 2 hours of your show because you don't have a cosplay masquerade. You lose a massive chunk of your panel time because you don't have anyone coming in to talk about cosplays. Just sheer door revenue from cosplayers who are jilted and don't want to come through. And you lose potential guests because of guests who are into cosplay. Because I remember they had somebody Doomkitty, Ivy Doomkitty. Yeah, she showed up one year in a kind of panel. She was the panel judge. She judged the whole cosplay contest. Her and a couple other American cosplayers.
you're going to lose people like that because they just see how well.
If the local cosplay community isn't in good shape, the internationals won't come.
Yeah,
no one's going to come to. No one will ever debut any of their costumes that they want to make. Nobody's going to do that if there's not a community there that's kind of grassroots. The local community, nobody will actually show up for that.
It's definitely they would be the worst for doing it, and I don't think they will. I think they will get out in front of it and hopefully stop it, because a lot of people have been. Yeah. I feel like I've been seeing a lot of people on a lot today, but quite a few of the con patrons have put in the evaluation form, just saying this is not on, this is unacceptable. Angry parents as well, friends of people saying this is what happened to my friend. She's a close friend. Please make sure this doesn't happen again. And it's not just people that. Like, I don't. I'm trying to phrase this very gingerly because I don't want to say it's happening more to people with mental health issues, because there's a lot of people with autism that were there that didn't really know how to react. It's happening to, the people with autism and other mental health issues, as well as it's happening to the quote unquote regular, normal.
The Joe Public average.
The Joe Public average, yeah. I wasn't really sure how to say that because
there's no right way to say it.
There's the autists and then there's the fucking
the normies and autists.
Yeah, the normies and autists.
And now they both say so it's really hard to figure out who does what.
We can't find that line.
No, there's no correct way to say normal, so just say normal.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's happening to both types of people, so you can't say, this is happening to our.
They're just being oversensitive. It's like, no, this is happening to.
No, this is happening to both works of people, both male and female, transgender. And there's a lot of transgender cosplayers as well. It's basically a bright beacon for your convention. So
it's a common factor that people can enjoy.
We have an inclusive cosplay scene, or we had an inclusive cosplay scene. That is what you might say if this goes away because you failed to police a simple thing of con security. Maybe just having a couple of people walking the con floor, talking to people, just saying, "How are you getting on? Are you good? It's a nice costume. Has anyone said anything to you?" Just have someone walking the floor. It takes no time at all. You could have volunteers, or if you really want to police it heavily and cut this thing out at the base, you get paid people in there, paid security. I guarantee you'll get paid security that will happily do this.
Have you seen nerds? They're not going to pick a fight with a 6'6" security guard.
Exactly. Even if the 6'6" security guard is covered in fucking Dragon Ball tattoos, they're still not going to pick a fight with them.
It's not going to. And you can feel free to. I would honestly say, if you're a con runner, feel free to be harsh about this, because you're protecting a community of creative people who draw attention to your convention, who bring
who are the
positive
face of your
attitude,
convention,
who can be their own stars in their own right and make great things for your convention and draw attention to it, over a community of shitheads who just want to grab an ass or take an annoying photo.
Yeah, or just be generally unpleasant towards people.
People who should just learn the rules of social interaction.
Yeah.
I would honestly advise support those creatives, those cosplayers over shitheads.
Yeah. Because you'll get the regular sort of Joe Public person like myself who will just go to a con. If I see a cool cosplay, I might snap a photo of it, but I'm more often than not going to be respectful about it. Like, not even more often than not. I 100% of the time I'm going to be respectful about it.
All it takes is, hey, do you mind if I just quickly you just hold the phone up and just point and say, do you mind if I just quickly take a photo?
And or just go over, introduce yourself. Well, I mean, what I do now is just to make everything ultra clear. If I want to take a picture, I go up, shake the hand. Do you mind if I take a photo? I really like the most recent. I mean, I haven't taken photos at a convention in fucking ages because I don't like doing it on a phone. I'd rather do it on a camera. And my camera that I was running up until recently was about 3-4 years old. So it wasn't really taking the best quality pictures. But the last time I went up to a cosplayer, they were dressed as a character from Fire Emblem Awakening. I said, really like your costume, do you want to take a photo? And I said, yeah, sure, of course. And she did a couple of different poses. And that's genuinely how she do it, because if you say, I love this character that you're portraying and I think your portrayal is awesome, it makes them so much fucking better. Yeah. If you go up to someone, and this is genuinely what happened to someone, if you grab them by the shoulder and spin them and say, can I take a fucking photo? Don't be surprised if that person causes you to lose some teeth.
Yeah.
Because if you did that to me, I'd fucking jab you in the jaw, knock you the fuck out. Be respectful. Like, don't be a cunt.
Yeah. Build the community you want to see.
Get some.
No one wants to see this bullshit.
Nah, no one wants to see this, and it seems to be every year I go to Comicon or go to any convention, I have to call out the same two fucking things.
Your BO.
Y'all fucking smell, and y'all fucking nasty.
And those are two entirely separate sentences.
Yeah, and it's not you're nasty because of BO. It's you're being nasty because cosplayers feel like they can't come out anymore. They can't come out to these cons and they can't show off their cool fucking Fire Emblem costumes, their cool Batman, Superman costumes.
And those people can make a day, like, not in a big way, but in a kind of like nice, like, you just kind of like, you catch out the corner, like, dude, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I had that at last week's con. There was a Good Omens cosplay, and it was the only person that I'd seen that they got the hair right, they got everything right, and I went, that's the best Aziraphale costume that I've seen today. This weekend, and the person I said to was like, "Oh, dude, you have no idea. You just fucking made my weekend."
Yeah.
And there was,
and that's two nerds who just walked out there happy and ecstatic, and I guarantee you come back next year. Same
thing with there was a guy cosplaying as Sir Robin from Monty Python's Holy Grail, and I went, "Brave Sir Robin," and the look on this guy's face, he was just like, "Somebody gets it." You if you don't have the con system and you don't have this, if you don't have the con cop system, or not in the ejection system where people just, right, you're being harassed and get out, you lose that. And I think it's just as simple as, you don't even give them strikes, it's just you out.
Yeah.
You fucked up. I don't care if you paid for weekend tickets, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
You fucked it up, it's on you.
And if they aren't happy with that, want a refund, take it up with management.
Good luck getting it.
Yeah, and other things, you can probably write your ticket in such a way, like write the terms and
conditions, that if you
could probably write it in a way that you would say, if you are ejected by con security,
you'll lose all right to refunds. And I think that's probably what they do, because if you're ejected, it's not something I've seen a lot of.
Yeah.
But if someone does get ejected by the convention security, they lose any right to come back in the following day. If they're in on a Saturday, they can't come back Sunday. Security will know who they are. Remember who they are and say, "Nah, I kicked you out yesterday, dude. You ain't getting back in."
And if you have to be harsh, be harsh.
And I think that's how you do it. You stamp it out at the source before it gets worse, before it gets too unwieldy, and before people just start saying, "I will never come back to this convention. I was this. I was that." If you're going to lose one arsehole at the con that's going to be generally creepy and unpleasant, fine. But if you lose a creative that's willing to show off what they've made and is willing to contribute to the community as a whole, you're fucking up. Because you want to keep that dickhead in because he pays for the weekend ticket as opposed to someone.
So does the cosplayer.
Yeah, so the cosplayer will pay for the same weekend ticket. I guarantee you're not losing many sales if you kick out wee dickhead Jeremy and all his wee dickhead pals because they want to come in and grab some titty.
Yeah.
Or think they can grab some titty and get away with it.
Yeah. You talked about voice actors, and I remembered seeing something this morning. Was do you remember the Lion King, the original?
Yes.
There was a story today, but the guy who did the singing voice for young Simba, he was offered $2 million to play the role.
$2 million
to play the role originally back in like '93 or whatever. His mum rejected it in exchange for royalties. That is the smartest fucking business decision
that's
that
a fucking
ever
200. That's a 400 IQ play.
That is huge.
Can you imagine, dude, like $2 million now over what? Can you imagine re-releases in the cinema, Blu-ray, 4K?
They put it in the vault, so it's got that 25-year anniversary edition.
Yeah, dude,
it's nonsense. You're like, dude, that is big brain time.
Yeah, that I can imagine. At that time he's just going, "Mom, you just cheated me out of $2 million." Just hand on the shoulder time. Give it time. This will pay off.
He's just sitting there with a glass of whiskey. Now we play the waiting game, son. That guy is paid for life.
Yeah, it's like, now we wait for the mouse money. What's mouse money? You'll see.
Oh, you'll see.
You'll see. Then cut to now. He's just like, "Thank you, fucking thank you."
And that's I mean, you see these like the lottery winners. They get like a shit ton of cash and immediately fucking burn through it, destroy their lives, ruin all their friendships. Yeah. And there is actually lottery programs that suggest you should take this as a check, like as a once a year thing. Don't go for the big cash out prize. You actually get more apparently if you just take it over time.
In installments, yeah.
But if you just cash it out every year, if you win, apparently somebody won the biggest UK lottery thing like last night, and apparently there's a winner in the UK somewhere. So there's like a series.
Yeah, they'll be keeping that quiet.
I fucking would. And you just take it as a series of like yearly installments. Say, look, every year I'm going to get 50 grand for the next 50 years. Yeah. You know, if you can take that, just work out how much. Basically, just give yourself a rough estimate of when you're going to die, and be like, I could probably make it to 70. Yeah, I'll take it for the next 40 years. You know, give me the money right up until I think we're going to croak, and then get as much out of it as you can.
Just keep cashing those checks.
I've never played the lottery in my life. Though.
Never played the lottery. I don't. I'm a terrible player of games of chance, which is why I always roll low in D&D and Pathfinder.
Yeah.
I have never. My average roll is about an 8. I never do great in games of chance. So
That's not a D20 as well. That's kind of impressive.
it's not consistent though. I'm saying average. It's all lower end single digits. It's not fantastic. I have the worst luck.
Yeah.
I played a gunslinger that had 6 attacks. I rolled 1s on all 6 attacks.
Shit.
My guns blew up in my face and blinded my character. I had to kill him.
My best one was I was playing Warhammer 40k down in Nottingham. It was at Warhammer World, and we are doing a 40k mission. It was like 6th edition Deep Strike Terminator, so dropping randomly on the board. And one of them happened to land in terrain just because I scattered a little bit. The scatter was unlucky, really unlucky. Went straight into terrain, and once you do that, you have to take an armor check to avoid being damaged. So I rolled for 1 dice for everyone in the squad. 5 dice, 2 plus armor save, so 2 or more safe, all ones.
Fuck.
At that point, I nearly packed up my entire thing. I just went, no, I'm done. No,
I'm done with this here. I'm gonna go get a job.
we're done here. we need to do nothing more. Like I just immediately just went, fuck's sake. I'm still, I think about 2 years later, somebody brought that up. I was like, right, okay, I get it. Thanks.
I fucked up. I get it.
I fucked up in public at the greatest place on the planet. Fuck off.
Speaking of D&D, I recently delved into the world of Critical Role.
Interesting.
And it's a good show, really fucking good show. It's the premise of the show is, I won't get into the premise of the campaign because I'm just getting into the campaign just now.
Broad strokes of the show itself.
Broad strokes of the show itself. It's a dungeon. The DM sort of host of the show is Matt Mercer, huge voice actor. He's been in Attack on Titan, Fire Emblem Awakening. He's been in Resident Evil. He's been in Persona. He's been in a lot of fucking big games. He's in the new Yakuza spin-off Judgment. He plays one of the main characters. He's a fucking huge name in the voice acting world, and it's other fucking huge voice acting names. There's Travis Willingham and his wife Laura Bailey. You have Marisha Ray, who's quite big in the Persona games. She plays Margaret. And you have a guy called Sam Riegel. Again, does a lot of voice acting in anime. He voices Phoenix Wright in the Phoenix Wright anime.
Right.
And you have another Phoenix Wright alumni, a guy called Orion Akaba. He voices Apollo Justice in the Phoenix Wright games and anime. Who else is in there? You've got a guy called Taliesin Jeffy. He plays a character called Percy, who is just this gunslinger, but he's like a proper fucking Lothario. Pretty awesome. And you've got Ashley Johnson from The Last of Us.
All right.
Who plays Ellie. She plays I think a gnome cleric. And as you can probably expect when you've got a big hefty voice cast like that, the voices are flowing. Oh, and also Liam O'Brien. He's in there. I don't
know his name.
He's been in most things that you've played.
Right.
He was in Darksiders. He voiced War.
Ah, right, yeah.
Really, really good voice. Really recognisable voice as well. So you've got all these big name voice actors, and they have all these really, really cool voices. And it's just literally they're playing through a D&D campaign that, as far as I can tell from the one episode that I've been listening to over the past 2 fucking days, they're long ass episodes, very long episodes. I think the shortest episode that they have is 2 hours 15 minutes. The longest episode they have is 6 hours 40 minutes.
Okay.
With some specials going up to 7.5. Like the one shot specials got up to about 7.5 minutes. But your average episode at its longest will be 6.5 minutes. And that is a lot of listening, dog.
See, I do the 2 times podcast thing, like double speed.
Yeah.
I'm still going to struggle for that one.
Yeah.
But I want to give it a go because I hear so much about this.
Yeah,
show.
and that's definitely what got me into it.
Yeah.
Again, going back to Comic-Con, talking to people in Comic-Con, saying, oh, the London show is so much better. They've got all the Critical Role guys. And I genuinely asked, at the risk of opening a Pandora's box, should I start listening to Critical Role? Have you played D&D? Yeah, pretty much religiously. Used to play it back in high school, whatever. And the guy that I was talking to said, oh yeah, definitely give Critical Role a shot, but try and binge as much as you can. Otherwise, the current season is just going to take over you, and then you're going to be finishing season 2 just as season 3 finishes. So you're just going to be constantly playing catch up. So kind of sounds like what you're saying is don't listen to it. But I've now started listening to it. Really good show. The characters play off each other because they've all worked together outside of this. They're all just fucking stellar A+ actors.
It's going to sound weird, but how is production Obviously, it's episode 1 that you listened to.
Production is kind of rough on the first episode. It went weird and distorted as I was listening to it on the way up here. Kind of sounded really tinny. I thought this better not be my headphones because I just fucking bought these. But no, it wasn't the headphones. I skipped forward. Audio got clearer, but still kind of a little bit fuzzy because you can tell they've taken the audio from a stream and put it into a podcast.
Yeah.
And I think as they get towards campaign 2, they have clearer, better mics. And they've got a better setup. But again, I haven't really listened to it yet.
It's because you explained that they stream it on Twitch, I think it is.
Yeah, they stream it on Twitch. I think they through Geek and Sundry.
Yeah. So stream it on Twitch, take the audio from it, cut it up, make it in the podcasts.
Yeah. Throw in some adverts and shit like that.
Yeah. How many adverts? Obviously, it'll change. You're listening to season 1.
Yeah, I'm listening to season 1. Right now, it's a kind of like what we do to break up the episode and let people go and take a piss, get some booze, get some snacks, that kind of shit. They'll do that maybe once in the episode, or depending on how long the episode is. I can imagine with a 6-hour episode they'll be doing that maybe 2 or 3 times.
Right.
Which is only fair because you can't expect a human being to sit in the same place for 6 hours and drink beer and guzzle crap and not expect them to go for a piss or
I just, when you were talking about like why you got into Geek and Sundry, you told me you wanted a longer form podcast.
Yeah, I've been searching for years, it feels like, for a good D&D podcast, and there's been several attempts. Some of them
got really close.
Some of them got really close. Some of them fell way off the mark. There was a podcast someone directed me to called Drunk D&D, and that just becomes an absolute shit show. Because I remember we played D&D before with some drinks in it, and that was horrible. Back when you were staying in Bowness.
Yeah, I remember. I know exactly the game session you're talking about, and that was hysterically funny. Because it was not Dungeon. It was 30 seconds of an introduction, and then immediately just memes that weren't memes, just shit posting in verbal form in the same room as everyone. Because
if I remember correctly, we had to jump over lava. We all fell into the lava and died within about 3 minutes.
There was something we were literally, because I'd housed myself, we were literally screaming some phrase that really was. It was just something to do with ejaculation, and I cannot remember what it was. There was something about it, and just all 6 of us were sitting there in hysterics at this one joke about busting it.
Yeah.
But it was just this dumb idea of like, we can do this after a couple of beers. This will be completely fine, and it just devolves into hysterics.
Yeah, I think we ended up ditching the D&D session. We ordered some takeout and just sat and drank for the rest of the night. But that's basically what this podcast, Drunk D&D, was like. But except there was no fun to it. There was just it was just 6 guys drunk off their ass playing D&D. Like, oh fuck, I lost the dice again. Fuck, it was a 20. I swear it was a 20. Like,
you can trust me.
Trust me.
Who do you think brought the booze?
So now that I have Critical Role and it's professional, it's well done. It's very professionally done. The production side of things in terms of sound design could be a bit better, but like I said, I'm on episode 1. When I get through the episode 1, hopefully get an episode 2, hopefully the production value goes up. But if it doesn't go up at season 1, it will definitely shoot up in season 2 because these guys are getting money thrown at them by Wizards of the Coast. They've now been bought. The Critical Role board game has been made by Wizards of the Coast. There's now a separate adventure path written by Wizards of the Coast.
Holy shit.
Based on Vox Machina. The first campaign, they divide the 2 campaigns. One's called Vox Machina, that's campaign 1. That's the one I'm listening to just now. The second campaign, which is either still on the go or is on some kind of break right now, is called The Mighty Nine. Nein, like German for no, Mighty Nine.
Okay, right.
And that's the second campaign, which I'll get onto probably sometime in the next 2 years, depending on this. Because just out of interest, I looked, whenever I want to get into a new show, I look to see how many episodes there are. Done some rough maths on Critical Role campaign 1. If I want to listen to this, it's going to take me 25 days, 23 hours and 20 minutes. That's a lot of listening, dog.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have the time. But if it's on in the back...
So that's 25 days of just pure audio files?
Yeah.
Right.
I think it might have counted both campaigns in that, but regardless, it'll still take me the better part of 3 weeks to get through.
That might be...
4 weeks.
It doesn't count rewatches, but I have a My Anime List page which calculates how much anime you've watched. I think I'm up to 31 days. That's all the anime I've watched in the last 2 to 3 years. And I have watched an absurd amount of anime.
You've watched a lot of anime, dog.
All of that devoted to a podcast.
Yeah.
I now understand the fanaticism of fans of the show.
You need to be.
It's Stockholm syndrome at this point.
Yeah, you need to be dedicated to the show, and it's something I talk to certain folks about, and they've always said, "Oh, it hooks you for the get go," and I will give you that. It was something that I was looking forward to. Just I need to finish this episode, and it's when I'm after we finish recording this, as I'm heading home to do whatever, I'll probably listen a bit more. It does definitely hook you, but I don't know if that's more the campaign itself, because the campaign itself takes a backseat to the actors.
Yeah.
And how they bring their characters to life and their dumbass interactions with the world itself.
Yeah.
And how quickly Matt Mercer has to react.
Rein it all back in.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, you're familiar, the giant bear is now in the middle of a fighting pit. How are you going to fix this one? How the fuck am I going to fix this one? Okay, you can move the bear.
Because remember, kids, the key to a good D&D show is an absolute shit show.
Yeah, and Critical Role is that. It's a well-constructed shit show. It's very funny. There's a lot of critical fails where someone rolls a 1 and then they play off that, and there's a lot of shit that they don't expect but the DM picks up on. Okay, so you're running a bit here. Who's taking care of the bear?
Oh shit, the bear.
Next thing you know, because they're in a city called Craghammer and they're surrounded by dwarves.
Yeah.
And which leads me on to something that we need to talk about, because a fan of the show sent us a request, a message on Twitter.
Okay.
Son of Korax. Matt Mercer does.
We're not punching a dwarf. Stop asking.
Colin's just going to punch me in the face. I think I'm the closest thing to get to a dwarf. But Matt Mercer does an okay job at a Scottish accent.
Yeah.
It's not great. He still pronounces fuck like fook.
Yeah.
Like, you're all fooked up. Like, that's not how we fucking talk.
That's
anyway,
Canadian.
You're fooked up.
Yeah, you fucked up, buddy.
You fucked up, eh? So they're in this town called Craghammer. The population is like 95% dwarf. There's 5% other population, but the giant bear familiar is called Trinket, and it belongs to one of the elven twins. There's Vexalia and Vox something. They call them Vex and Vax. So Vexalia is a giant familiar bear just standing outside, and it's well trained, so he's not going to attack anybody, and he's just sitting there minding his own business, and all of a sudden these fucking dwarves just surround him and they're like sitting there with warhammers at the ready to fight him, and he says, you get back outside and you realise that you left Trinket unattended. And now they're going to arrest him, and he's like, shit, we need to deal with that. And they just kind of forget that they have this thing attached to them, so when they go back to the bar after their lodgings afterward, they leave Trinket downstairs and they have this big dwarven fighting pit cut out, so the bear just jumps in the middle of that, and next thing you know, the champion for the inn just wakes up and goes, a bear, let me at it. And they have to deal with that. It's pretty fucking funny.
So I guess we'll both be listening to this.
It's very chaotic. It's a lot of just reacting to the chaos of the.
Still got those D.5 books sitting next door.
Yeah,
this is going to start something, kids. I'm very sorry for what this podcast becomes, because it's fucking.
We're here to announce that Gibberpish is now becoming a D&D podcast.
We couldn't find the podcast that was an absolute shit show talking about D&D, so we decided to make it ourselves, because that's the American spirit. In Scotland.
Don't get me wrong, dude, I was tempted when I couldn't find the D&D show. I was like, I have a Pathfinder group. How well
much
would
the mics cost?
How much the mics cost, and how well would our group translate to to a podcast? But then I remembered we spend a lot of time figuring out the next step, so you just hear, what do we do? Fucking stats.
It's boring when people have to. You listen to people think about the game.
Yeah, that's basically what
just be the game.
Yeah, that's what my group would be like. It'd be a lot of just, oh shit, my fucking perception's only +2, and if I do that, I'm gonna fucking just, haha, I have this. There'd be a lot of that, and that wouldn't work well. Plus, I don't think too many people think, oh yeah, I'll fucking do this. Then when it comes to actually recording it, like, nah, I don't want to. That's a private thing. So yeah, don't get me wrong. I was always tempted to do a D&D show, but trying to get a group in and around here
is a nightmare.
Trying to get a group in and around here and trying to get a consistent group would just be an absolute shitmare. So,
and with that, we'll take a quick break, and we're back. And we end up discussing like what comes next, and the answer is, it turns out, just Netflix animation.
Yeah,
I smashed my way through Netflix's season 2 of Big Mouth, which dropped on, I think it was like a Thursday night. I'd finished it by like Friday morning. Oops.
I did the same thing with...
No, it was Friday night, Saturday morning. I'd finished it because my brother was like, I haven't even thought about
it was there.
my brother was like, how did you do that? And I'm like, I have no idea. I stayed up late. I had, like,
you got to power through that little voice that says, no, we'll go to sleep.
You got to just shut that voice up with a big fat can of Monster, and you just
Just mainline the monster.
mainline the monster, and then you just deal with it.
I did the same thing with season 2 of The Chef Show with Jon Favreau.
You end up watching that show and feeling so inadequate and hungry at the same time.
I could never make the guy. The whole point of the show is Jon Favreau made the movie Chef.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about. He was inspired by another chef called Roy Choi, who basically he was unhappy cooking for other people and cooking crap.
Yeah.
That he didn't want to make. That he bought a food truck and built his own empire from that.
To be fair, as well, we should point out he is a Michelin star chef.
Yeah.
Like he's a god tier chef.
Yeah. Roy Choi is a fucking.
And threw it all the way to be a food truck guy. And just amazing story of like, fuck you, I'm doing this.
Yeah. So Jon Favreau wanted to learn how to properly cook to give the story like the proper sense of weight, and so the food doesn't look like it's just all pre-prepared. He wanted to actually make the scenes of him cooking look decent, not just here's this. I have this random collection of ingredients. All of a sudden, I have this perfect pot roast. Yeah. No, he wants to show the process.
I want to show you the prep, the cuts, the
seasoning and the proper way to do it.
And it resulted in a lot of praise from chefs.
Yeah, it was a really, really good movie. It was not a film to watch hungry. Watch on a full stomach because you will want to make that fucking delicious cheese toasty.
Yeah, he makes a cheese sandwich, and there's an entire episode of Chef Show dedicated to showing Bill Burr, the comedian, how to make a cheese sandwich. And you watch this thing, and you think, I will never put this much effort into anything in my life as this man puts into a fucking cheese sandwich.
And the episode with the mojo pork, I wanted to make that shit.
Oh yeah,
but I did the same thing. I literally just had it on. I was engrossed in every episode. I didn't even. They made this clam spaghetti.
Right.
It was like clam linguine or something. Yeah. I don't eat shellfish, and I was like, dude, that looks fucking outstanding. I am goddamn hungry.
They make shrimp, and it's like they made shrimp in one of the episodes I saw, and it's.
They're like,
you got a wood fire shrimp, and I'm like, who the fuck are you people?
Are they big enough? They do an episode just completely devoted to oysters and clams and things, how they catch them. It's just they go out to this bay, they go out to this kind of body of water, and there's these lines of oyster catching equipment stretching all the way along the body of water. It's just like, we don't touch that stuff, that's not ours. And they go to this big massive batch of baskets up the back, and it's just all of them bursting with these clams and oysters.
Yeah. It's as someone who has watched
fantastic show.
Decent chunk of like reality cooking shows, stuff like Gordon Ramsay, not even just like Kitchen Nightmares, but like his actual like cooking shows.
Yeah.
I'm used to this type of entertainment, and I do find it very interesting, very educational. It's very good edutainment, especially if you're vaguely interested in cooking, just even for yourself or like friends, or just doing fun stuff in the kitchen, or want to make cooking more interesting for yourself. The like Chef Show is on another level though. Yeah,
Chef Show will make you think that you could, cook all these things, because he never makes it look complicated. Like they made this pasta in season 1. I managed to make a version of it. I was just thinking, I guarantee I've not done this right, and it's only 6 ingredients. You need chili flakes, garlic, the pasta itself, lemon, and one other. I think it's a pesto or something like that. And it's just you make this delicious pasta.
And I think that stems from the food truck side of things, because there's the kind of Michelin star ultra high level cooking, but then there's also, I need to create 30 of these consistently for the next hour, because I have a line of people who want to eat this stuff from food truck. I need to just keep churning out this result. It's a great practical way of doing things, is that you ignore the pomp and circumstance and go, I need to make this. I need to make hundreds of these things.
And I think that's a good progression from the movie, because the movie is just, I want to show the proper stand. I want to show people that being a chef is not just you go out there and you make the food and you're happy at the end of the day. Show them the warts and all. It's just you're going to cook food for other people, and you're going to cook food that's the way they want to do it, that you're not going to be happy doing that. But if you do it your own way, put your own spin to it, it's going to be more fulfilling. And I think the Chef Show just shows that Jon Favreau did a shit ton of preparation for this, and he's now just he's now so engrossed by the world of being a chef and cooking, that he's now willing to just lift that curtain completely and say, oh no, these guys are doing what I did in the movie.
Here's a look at this fascinating subculture.
And here's there's a guy, he runs he did a show on Netflix called Ugly Delicious. He does a lot of Korean inspired food, because that's his background. And some of the meals that he's making, I'm just thinking, I would never normally eat that, but fuck it. If it looks like that, I'll try krill. I'll try watermelon radish.
Yeah.
That looks fucking delicious. But before I go on about Chef Show constantly, you were watching Big Mouth.
No, I actually just... It's funny to talk about Chef Show because I've been a culinary fucking disaster for the last couple of weeks. I make a good jerky. You've had the jerky.
Yeah.
I make good jerky. I fucked it up. I had to prepare it for a Macmillan Cancer morning. Fucked it up completely. Gave up and went and bought like random stuff from the local store to bring to it was either you buy it or you bake it, so I bought it because I couldn't bake it, and then like 2 nights ago I broke my my chili pot that I have, absolutely shattered it to pieces. It broke while I had chili in the oven and just came in. There was a nice big crackle on the side of it. I was like, oh no, the juices are leaking out, so I have to clean the oven from like top to bottom again. Came in, I was like, right, I'm gonna take it out. I got the chili out of it, salvageable, and then as soon as I went to pick up the pot itself to like put it in, give it a quick clean, then throw it in the bin, the rest of it just came apart in my hands. Like I lifted up my hand and took out a chunk of the pot with me. I burnt bacon. I've never burnt bacon in the last 5 years I've been cooking. I have just fucked up everything that is not simply just put a pizza in the oven. It has been a fucking disaster for the last 2 weeks, so I need to go back to the Chef Show Sensei and just learn.
Just take notes from Roy Choi.
Oh my god, please teach me something. I need to make it as simple as humanly possible, because right now I'm eating the last of the mince that cost me my cooking pot, and that's all I've had, except for I went obviously to Joker yesterday and had a burrito from a local place. It's improved. I went there a couple of years ago, had an absolute disaster. Came back, had a weird haggis burrito.
Oh, was this on Princess Street?
Yes.
Taco Mazama or whatever?
Yeah.
Alright, I was going to say that's the better place to go to. There's a place up.
It used to be bad. It improved.
Yeah, it's better now.
Yeah.
I've only been to it now, but I've been told by people that work there that people like the food now. There's a place up on, I think it's near Earl Grey Street, that kind of row of businesses up there, called the Bar Burrito. That is what I like to call a post-wall burrito. When Trump puts the wall up and sends everyone back home, that is the shitty Mexican food that we're going to be resorted to. Well, it was fucking atrocious. The beef bit me.
the place that
shouting at me.
I was at had I saw sauces on the wall and like, oh, what do you want? And immediately it was like, it goes from like a nice pico de gallo salsa, pico de gallo salsa, and it went straight to pineapple and ghost pepper. I'm like, that it is delicious. It is. You've got the
sweetness for the pineapple, and then you've just got arseburn ghost pepper.
Yet for the arseburn, still waiting on it. It seems to have worked. I think the raw amount of sugar in the pineapple has done a lot of negating the effect of the ghost pepper. Gorgeous though. Yeah. Weird to have like haggis and pineapple and ghost pepper in the same thing and say this is actually pretty good. Yeah, that sounds like it works. But just you mentioned Pico de Gallo reminds me of the fact that the one good place locally is fucking gone. Okay, I'm not ready for this. It's not cool. I miss. We've probably heard us talk about this in the show before, but we are both fucking loved a little sort of cafe place in Falkirk called Habaneros. Yeah, confirmed deceased. It is shut down for whatever reason. Getting a bowl of nachos with a little bit of Pico de Gallo, I don't fuck with salsa, because if you've got the pico de gallo, you don't need salsa. Well, pico de gallo is salsa. Yeah, I mean, the traditional sort of Dorito salsa. Yeah. I don't need that. Give me the pico de gallo with a little bit of sour cream, some of that Texas queso that they have, because it grew on me. It took me a while, but it fucking grew on me. With some pieces of chicken in there, heat up. It was fucking delicious. It was the highlight of my month, because I would only go once a month. Otherwise, I would be 6 times the size that I am now. It was a legitimate decision. And now it's gone. It was part of my decision-making process is now, I'm going to spend more time in Edinburgh, because there's no point going to Falkirk for me other than tattoos, which there's a couple shops up there. There's some good places in Edinburgh that I could show you to. There's places now that I'm like, it cost wise, the cost of a train is more expensive to go to Edinburgh. Yeah. But the cost of the cinema is cheaper. Yeah. And I can get more access to more interesting foods. There's a ramen place just up the road from the cinema I use, so that's what cinema do you use? The View Cinema in the Omni Centre. Right, yeah. Dirt cheap. Yeah, it's good. It's fantastic. £4.79 or something. The fucking chair. Yeah, dude. Talk about revolutions. The cinema that we probably both used to go to, the Cineworld in Falkirk. Yeah. Was fucking horrible. For a regular ticket for me, it was about £9 because I was using my student discount. But
Everyone else was
£10.80.
It was £10.80. Use that money, £10.80 can get you fucking Edinburgh and back. You're paying £4 to get into the cinema.
I save. I can go to Edinburgh, which is absurd to think. I can travel 25 miles.
Yeah.
And enjoy a cinema that's better for about £2 cheaper.
Yeah.
Than going up the road.
And even if
10 miles.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you go have you tried the luxury seats?
No.
I think your ticket averages out at about £5 flat.
Yeah.
So if you go for the luxury seats, you're paying £2 more, and you get the big fucking lazy boy recliner with your own drink stands in each, and it's right at the back, so you're getting the full view of the cinema. And and the seats are evenly spaced so that everyone gets to stretch out. There's no stretching your legs out and kicking it in.
And even a standard seat, that's a comfortable seat.
Exactly, it is so fucking good. So that's why if anyone says to me, "Oh, we're going to the cinema," where are we going? Cineworld. Fuck you. We'll go to the
Crane Omni Centre now.
Omni Centre, Livingston. There's fucking 2 relatively close to us. Let's go to that one.
Yeah, and I
ridiculous. And they let you bring your own food in. They're like, "Oh, you got your own food? Cool, thank you."
I did not know that.
No, you can bring your own food in. Only Cineworld get assy about it.
I didn't bother. I was running late to see Joker, and I was like, do I want to stop and get a drink, or am I just going to ride this one out? It's only 100 minutes.
Yes, 105.
Yeah, something like that, and just fuck it.
Yeah, just tough it out.
Yeah, Big Mouth. The weirdly inappropriate show about puberty returns, and it's Dom's never seen Big Mouth. Never taken time.
I think it's more to do with Nick Kroll. I've not seen his humour much. I've heard of him. I've seen him in shows like Park and Recreation, but I've not really seen much of Nick Kroll.
I don't know his comedy style, but if it's anything like the show, it's absurd and great. Because say he's playing around in an animated format, and the ridiculous story they want to tell about puberty and what you experience, why you experience it, what influences you, is best told through the medium of animation.
Yeah, if you try to do that live action, it would not go well, I think, anyway.
All I just imagine is there's the main characters, which is Nick and Andrew, which happen to be stand-ins for the show's creators. Jesse, and we've had I'm gonna really forget a name, and it's on the list of like the main characters, people who've had a big kind of debut this season. I mean, Jessie was in the first couple of seasons. She is the main kind of romantic interest for Nick, but then they realised it's not going to work, so they're just friends. So it's kind of like they tried dating, and it's like, nah, not going to happen.
Oddly grown up for a show about puberty.
It is. It's weird. It's very obviously a show written by people who have spent a lot of time in therapy based on their puberty. And Missy is, I'd say, maybe the other main character, and Jay. The voice cast for the show is hysterically like overpowered. If you look into that IMDb credits, you're like, wow, there's some serious star power in here. They have been doing the show now for a couple of years, and it is just about the worst moments of puberty. And I my theory is this is everyone in the writer's room shares the most embarrassing puberty story of like, this one time I went to masturbate and my dad walked in, like that on crack. And they just try and combine all these weird stories together to tell this show of kids basically trying to survive puberty. And it's amped up by obviously during puberty you're horrifically hormonal and you make the dumbest decisions of your life based on the hormones. So they personified the hormones and the influence they have with the hormone monsters, who are just these beings of chaos who exist to just fuck with everything that's in the show. They have the male hormone monster, which is Maury. They have the female hormone monster, Connie. And they have been introducing, season 2 they introduced an older, like decrepit hormone monster at one point, and they have a younger, more immature one. I cannot remember the name of the old one, but he does have a very hilarious voice that I learned to imitate it. I would constantly just be using that voice in random conversations with like my brothers who both watched the show, and we would just wind each other up, and I would just jump in with the hormone monster voice and just annoy the shit out of them even more. But they've been very good at introducing these weird manifestations of characters, and that led to season 2's fantastic Shame Wizard. Literally was just a giant floating spectre played by, I have the name here, he's only in it for one episode this year, which is an absolute fucking shame. He shows up whenever a character has to deal with shame, and Andrew, one of the characters from who's been part of the show from the start, but season 2, Andrew was dealing with a lot of shame, and the Shame Wizard, voiced by David Thewlis, shows
Thewlis.
up. Yes.
Fucking hell.
And it is the most amazing fucking thing. He stole every fucking scene he's in by just being this creepy, judgmental presence in a way that only a great British thespian can be.
Yeah.
Including a musical number about shame. There's a weird musical kind of undercurrent in the show. The season starts with their Valentine's Day special, which came out on Valentine's Day or the day or two before, and they have a musical number about hating Valentine's Day. It's fantastic. You listen to it, you're like, this hits a little too close to home. I get that feeling. I know this one off by heart. I've sung this melody myself. I just never knew the lyrics to the song. And then you have obviously the Shame Wizard song from season 2, and in this one they have a musical number about it's basically not being in a relationship but having your good friend and just agreeing to just have a relationship with someone because it's been a gay guy and a girl, and they're like, look, we will never be together, but we will be the most fabulous pair of people you've ever met in your life. And they just have these weird musical outbursts that are just hilarious. And there's one from episode 8, because I went back to rewatch that, and it was to do with how nobody sees it's a weirdly narcissistic song about how nobody knows you're perfect because they just don't see you in the right light or anything like that. It's fucking weird that they just have these weird outbursts of song that, when you think about it, again, it could only work in animation, but also it only works in the context of a show about puberty, because puberty doesn't make sense unless in a weird kind of musical way you sing about your feelings. And it's a great idea that they've just kind of latched into with this weird undertone of music, because they also have they have a ghost in the attic.
All right.
It's the ghost of Duke, who is played by Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele is in the show as a kind of swinging 50s ghost type guy. It's hysterical. The weird shit that he comes up with, and it's one of the things that you forget now with Jordan Peele's very successful acting, directing career. You're like, oh yeah, that was a comedy guy. Like just 5 years ago, he still has his comedy jobs.
I think he's going to become more and more known for his horror. Yeah, but it's kind of weird to see him as he has comedy chops, but
he's a very surreal character. Because he lives for that weird kind of bachelor lifestyle in the 50s, where you could spend all day in a housecoat and just spend all day blitzed drunk because you were good at piano 50 years ago and you just made your money and you retired, and you just lived retirement for 30 years or whatever before you died of like liver failure. And it's just a weirdly it's weirdly progressive for a show that also pokes fun at everything that it stands for in a weird way. It's kind of the main example for this is that they have an ultra modern dad. Nick's dad is ultra caring. He really wants to share, wants to be part of his kids' lives. He listens to all these TED Talks and NPRs about how kids really feel, but at the same time does not pay attention to his son. But he's always there, he's always progressive. We get the door open, come on, anytime we chat, buddy. And he overshares his sex life as well. So he's like trying to be very progressive and show the kids that, you know, you're in a relationship, you've got a partner here, you gotta please like guys. He's got 2 sons, like, boys, you gotta please your women like I do your mum. And you're like, Dad, don't fucking talk like that. Like, if he was my dad, I'd have killed him long ago with a face. And I just snapped and just beat him to death with a candlestick or some shit. It's
run him over with his own car or something like that.
There's a lot of weird characteristics. Like this show's exploration of sexuality has been very fucking on the nose. They've had a character, Jay, who is dealing with the fact that he is bisexual, but he is expressing it through humping pillows because he doesn't know how to talk down. He's a very damaged individual. He comes from a very broken home. Yeah. But he likes to masturbate by humping pillows. And he gives the pillows male and female characteristics. So he'll be having imaginary threesomes with pillows where one's a dude, one's a girl. And he just has these weird outbursts in school that he just will not, like, you can't say that type of thing in a weird way. Like, you shouldn't be saying that type of thing in public. And he'll try and walk it back. Like, he'll accidentally have revealed something about himself that he shouldn't have, but because he's so ashamed of himself, he tries to hide it. And every character is very 3-dimensional for a cartoon.
Yeah.
And they've made a very good job of creating this consistent world. I love that. The fact that every time a character acts in a certain way, it becomes a certain, like, it always follows the line that you would expect based on that character. And they played around with something at the start or during the Valentine's Day episode, is that most of the kids are struggling to start their relationships, and Andrew has been pursuing Missy, and Missy's like, no, I'm not interested, and I'm gonna kind of put this on the back burner, but he's like, no, I can win her over if I just try harder, and he puts a lot of effort into trying to win her over, only to then be rejected, and he thinks it's because she wants to date a guy in a wheelchair, and he spends the Valentine's Day episode like drastically trying to change his personality. He puts on like a hat that he has a massive allergic reaction to.
I thought you were going to say he spends the rest of the episode trying to break his legs so he can get in a wheelchair or something.
Worse.
Oh, fuck.
Technically.
Jesus, how can you get worse? Like, I'm going to cause myself to become paraplegic.
He has this weird thought that the guy in the wheelchair is faking it.
Oh, shit. I know where this is going.
So at a Valentine's Day party, he pulls him out the fucking wheelchair. It's so horrible. At the same time, it's so fucking funny because he's screaming, and the hormone monsters. This is exactly where the type of thing where the hormone monsters come into play, because he gets really pissed off that Missy won't take him seriously, doesn't see him as a romantic partner, blames the kid in the wheelchair. Is like, it's all his fucking fault. I'm gonna get him. I think he's lying about the wheelchair thing, and his hormone monster's like, this is a bad idea. Stop what you're doing right now. And then Andrew starts trying to go for him and like try to pull him at the wheelchair, but he's belted in place. So the hormone monster goes, you know what, fuck it, going all in, do it Andrew, get the fucking belt, he's tied in by the belt, rip him out the wheelchair, show these people what's what. Immediately, as soon as he pulls the belt and rips him out the wheelchair, the hormone monster regresses and goes, oh, this was stupid. And you're like, that is exactly what your hormones do during puberty. They take you all the way up through an idea. They say this is the best thing, go for it 110%, commit to the bit, and immediately as soon as it doesn't work out, you feel guilty.
Yeah, he just goes straight back to zero. All
the hormones, and you're like, that is a little visual joke, is exactly how some parts of puberty feel. And that's what the show does really well.
Do you maybe think that's why it's so successful? Because maybe people are saying the little grains of truth that are put in there, or is it just? I mean, obviously the comedy is what people are there for. Yeah. But then they just go, oh, I remember. Obviously, I doubt many people that we know tip people out of wheelchairs, but I will tell you a similar story of there was a kid in our year who was he was in a wheelchair, but he was the biggest piece of shit. He would run over people's fucking toes. And he would run over. He would go up to people and he would stop dead in front of them when they were trying to move. And he would just say, "Oh, wheelchair's not working. It's getting a bit shunky. It's not working." So at one point, 4 people that I didn't really know picked him up in his wheelchair and left him stranded on the second floor.
Holy shit!
And they came back down because I was there when they were talking, and I just said, "So what are you going to do if he's being a shit?" And they went, "I don't know what you're fucking going to do. Let's fucking do it. Let's fucking go and do it, lad." So the 4 of them carried him up to the second floor, and they came back down and went, Should we do something? I feel kind of bad about it, like that immediate regret.
And that's the thing, is that testosterone charge that young men get.
Yeah.
They go in,
especially when they're feeding off other people. Like, fucking let's go and punch him in the face.
And a room full of people building up that momentum, it's unstoppable. And then immediately
there's that crash.
And you realise that you fucked up. And that's, as I say, this is where those little grains of truth. It's comedy that comes from a place of truth. Yeah. And that truth is based on just a little bit of pain. Yeah. It sticks around for a long time. And it's a great show for all those little moments. And it's revealed that Andrew is the hat that he put on to try and make himself attractive to kind of peacock. He's having an allergic reaction to it. His hair has melted off. His scalp is boiling. It's all covered in blisters because of some chemical that was used to wash the hat. And he has basically just put into this bit so hard that when it doesn't work, he crashes. He has an absolute shit fit outside. When he's told to leave the party, he runs around screaming in the front garden, just in rage, in absolute rage. He decides to kick a mailbox, breaks his foot, falls over, and farts so loud you can hear it through the window. And people have filmed it, so he's being recorded, which is a good thing. The show points out is that these are kids who went through, the people writing the show went through puberty before cell phones.
Yeah.
Now, take all the dumb shit you did as a kid and imagine someone filmed it and it existed on the internet forever.
Yeah.
How much does that fuck up a person?
Oh yeah.
Infinitely more than what we went through as kids.
Oh yeah. That's why I'm glad that my niece doesn't really bother with that type of shit, because I realised if she's not bothered with it now, it's going to hit her eventually.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have to grow up in an age where people can just record or take a photo of you doing anything. I remember when I was younger, I fell down a lot because I always had a really heavy bag and I was quite short. Centre of gravity was quite low, so someone could come up to me and push me. Or I remember running home after class was finished. The odd detail that I remember about it was RMPS.
Right.
It was religious studies, and my bag was kind of heavy. I was booking it home because I think everyone else had got it before me. I was trying to catch up to people, and my bag was just slightly too heavy. And I ran and I did that kind of stumble run.
Yeah.
I managed to get back to myself, but then someone bumped into me and I fell and just ate shit. And this was before I had glasses. My face was hitting off the ground. I had like scrapes, like red scrapes all over my face. I just got back up and everyone was just looking at me. If somebody had recorded that, I think I would probably just have to drop out of school. Like, I would have said, nope, can't do it. Like, someone has visual footage of me fucking up.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that now people, like kids especially, are so sociopathic, because kids are mildly sociopathic in general. Yeah, that
there's
immediately
no empathy.
the response would have been with a cell phone to just be like, "Don't fell." Like immediately the phone would be up recording and we'd be filming it and watching you fall and eat shit.
I mean, even as we were getting along in the whole high school system, there was people with video phones, and it would just record people. A friend of mine has a scar along his forehead from when he got his first phone. Him and his friends would just do dumb jackass type shit. And then our high school... That
was unfortunate that the cell phone started to come out just as Jackass was finishing.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, this is the shit.
We were lucky to be alive. We did some dumb shit. I didn't do any dumb shit because I was fucking... As a generation, we did dumb shit. I was the most timid child you could ever think of. I was like, okay, the big people will beat me up, so I'm going to shut up. But my friend, he had his mobile phone out and he was recording some dumb shit. And in our high school canteen, there was I think it's the same with most high school canteens. It's the assembly hall just with tables and shit. All the tables are at one side and we had the stage, and the stage had a little that sort of metal barrier run along it, and they were just like...
It's just a little lip. It's a lip on the edges just to prevent the
rubber
boards
stopper
lifting up. But instead of rubber, which we would use nowadays, it was metal.
It was metal, so they were messing around, like banging it, like throwing each other a bit, and all of a sudden one guy grabbed my friend and smashed his head off of it and like cut his head open. And I think that's what led that along to, let's get rid of the metal, put the rubber in. And that they just kept doing that, and it's like, I'd hate for people nowadays to see that, because phones are getting better. And a lot of people are looking for that shortcut. Oh, dude, if I post some dumb shit on YouTube, maybe I'll get money.
That viral clip, all it takes is that one viral clip.
Yeah, what if I bean my friend in the head with a brick? Like, I knock him out, I'll be fucking savage. I'll be fucking world star this shit. Like, no, you're just gonna knock your friend out and get absolutely nothing on YouTube.
And when the police come, there is evidence all over the place.
There's evidence that you could find the brick with your fingerprints on it because you decided to bean your friend in the head.
Or we could just watch the YouTube clip.
Yeah, or we should watch that. Yeah, it terrifies me. That I'd hate to be growing up now where just at any point, because thinking back on it, I was probably, if there was cameras about that, I would have been a gold mine for that kind of footage, because I was sick a lot. I was short. I was pushed around a lot. I was always overweight, and I was always late to things. So I was always running. So someone could go, "Oh, there's little fat Dom. Run, titties, run!"
It adds an extra layer. It adds more potential to bullies who are meaner. And in a weird way, you gotta understand, a bully is savagely intelligent. It's not in an intellectual way.
Predatorial, that kind of instinctual way.
Yeah, there's an understanding of, I have this thing, I do this thing. I can combine these two and make a different thing.
Yeah, I can satisfy that craving to make him feel small, but I can also look cool to the others, and I won't get bullied by the others. Yeah. And if this, it's actually going to make me want to watch Big Mouth if that's adding that aspect in.
There is that layer of, like, if you remember, understand, and are willing to look at puberty in a different light.
Oh yeah,
this is the show for you. Yeah. And it takes it all the way up to modern extremes where, because of Andrew being rejected, he actually becomes an incel for a couple episodes. And they spend a few episodes with him delving deeper into this kind of, like, weird thing where he hates what happened to him, but doesn't understand he did it to himself.
Right.
And
he blamed everyone else for his foible.
Yeah, and he turns to the internet and he finds a men's activism group. Turns out they're Nazis. Which there's no like kind of, oh, maybe it's a shade of grey. It's no. The guy starts with like the meeting of this men's help group starts with the guy is introduced by the main speaker saying, so my ex-wife ran off with her black husband, and her fucking Jew lawyer says I'm gonna have to help pay for the divorce. And you're like, hey, Andrew immediately sitting in the room goes, oh, I joined a Nazi group. Like, there's no if buts or maybes about it. They're like, yeah, this is how that pathway starts. This is this incel thing. This
it is a sharp decline from.
It goes to 100 real
regular.
quick. And you will find yourself in the wrong room with the wrong people, and it's up to you to recognise that you're in the wrong room. Like, they have a very good message around what happens to Andrew and how it happens, and they actually deal with it kind of the right way, where Andrew is honest about it to Nick, and he comes to him at one point and says, Nick, I was in a Nazi meeting the other day, and everyone's like, what? And they kind of console each, like, he consoles him, hugs it out, and it's kind of dealt with off screen in a way.
Yeah.
It does get brought up later. Like he reminds him. There's an origin episode for Duke where they asked Duke, who's this big ladies man or ghost of a ladies man, how he lost his virginity, and he goes to tell him the story, and he tells the whole story. That's the whole episode, but it cuts back every now and again to them telling, like, Duke telling the story to the boys, and Andrew interrupts randomly to bring in various woke points about like how things were different back in the day and things that are completely unacceptable now. All these racial stereotypes, these words, what it means and what real oppression means now, and how we can change things. And at one point, Nick tells him, "Hey, didn't you go to a fucking Nazi rally like earlier this month?" Yeah, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, woke boy. It's a great kind of like little dig, like, shut up. Like, if you're trying this hard, you must be hiding something. Yeah. So it's a very good show. It's phenomenal. It's hilarious. I've been in tears at points. The show is absurd. It goes to places it doesn't need to go to, just for the sake of a joke. Like Andrew at one point in season 3 tries to bang his own cousin. Yeah. Yeah. Let's not touch that one. But they're in Florida, and then they might destroy Florida, and then they wink, and they're like, "Wait, did that actually happen? Did we actually destroy Florida, or was it just a joke?" And they're like, everyone just kind of shrugs it off and just kind of drives on to the next. Like, there's an absurdist element to this, and you're like, that reminds me of the absurd moments you have in puberty, or how it feels to be in puberty. Yeah. It's a very good show for that. But if you have the time, I definitely recommend it. Season 3 just came out, and it's fucking hell of a ride. So yeah,
I'll definitely look in it. But I recently finished watching a show. I finished watching Disenchantment season 2.
I've watched season 1.
Yep.
How's season 2?
Season 1 was great. Season 2, it's not as good. Still good. Still a good ride, but they tend to. They start the writing takes a little bit of a nosedive. The original story is still there, it's still fine, and how they continue that, it's all well and good. It's all really, really good. Yeah. But they take, if you consider the main storyline of the first season, it's being a fuck up, getting into her own sort of style, her own style and her own way of thinking, being her own person with Elfo and Lucy, and then she finds her mother. Then there's the mother storyline where she's trying to basically, Bean has access to some kind of ancestral power or some crap like that, right. And she's trying to groom her to be that. That storyline kind of takes a bit of a backseat because they've resolved that shit with Bean and her mother within the first episode, maybe 2 episodes. Oh. And that kind of takes a backseat for this new plot line of just yet more of Bean trying to figure herself out. I think it's funny what they do with it, but it just seems like a bit of a thin
Like I thought that was the entire purpose of the mother storyline was Bean would figure shit out.
Nah, they kind of let that limp on again because her mother Dagmar is back in. I think her land is Maru, like the kind of the Kobayashi Maru. That's what I took it as a cool Star Trek reference. But now she's Bean is back in Dreamland and she's with King Zog, and again they're trying to figure shit out. And she writes a play about her struggles being part of the royal family, where her mother and father hate each other, and it's all about how women weren't allowed to work in the theatre, so she had to sell the story to Prince Merkimer, Matt Berry's character that got turned into a pig, and how the pig has to play her father, and then Elfo has to play Queen Dagmar. Right. It's pretty funny, but I was just thinking, again, it's more of Bean trying to figure herself out. But we do get more of a focus on the other characters, because Lucy is a demon. Ultimately, he's not really a good guy. He sells them out when they go to hell.
Yeah.
But he does it ultimately for a good reason, so that he can get his wings and fly them out of there. But then he loses loses all his powers, and he becomes essentially immortal.
Interesting.
He becomes amortal, not immortal.
Is it like, no, but him becoming immortal is interesting, because in season 1, Lucy as a demon is just a dick, because he knows he can get out of anything. It's like, oh no, we're all stuck behind bars, let me just phase shift through the fucking prison bars and just walk out of here. I don't give a shit.
And now
I'm a demon.
Now that's going to change, because he's not invincible anymore. He's not invulnerable. He can now die. He's lost all his demonly powers because he basically betrayed hell.
That'd be interesting.
And the storyline comes from Elfo dies at the end of season 1.
Right.
And because Elfo was this fucking Boy Scout, he goes to heaven, and part of his heaven is he can look down and see other things, and Bean finds a way to contact Elfo, and she feels so guilty about essentially letting him die. It's like, no, I need to find Elfo, and then they say, Elfo, get down to hell, we'll pick you up in hell, Lucy will come and pick us up. And they have some cool funny shit in there.
I don't remember Elfo dying. I need to rewatch it.
Elfo gets killed by, I think he gets shot. Yeah, but I think he gets shot by an arrow at the tail end of season 1 by something. I can't really remember.
I do remember I didn't get into Disenchanted season 1 until a couple episodes in, and I was very drunk at that point, so that's probably why I don't remember this.
But the downfalls for season 2 are mainly the fact that, like I said, the writing takes a bit of a nosedive, because for my mind, is when you're including quotes from or references to other shows, it's kind of when you're running a bit of an idea, so you're just thinking, alright, we'll throw in a line about, King Zog, who's voiced by John DiMaggio, who also voices Bender. He's out hunting, and he jumps out of a bush and shouts, "Bite my shiny metal axe!" And right, okay. And then there's other references to other shows. I'm just thinking.
And we should clarify, this is a show by Matt Groening.
Yeah.
The guy who created Futurama, therefore Bender, therefore...
And The Simpsons. That's the thing. The reason why I like it more, and I'm sticking with it more so than Simpsons, is because it's something that you've never really seen Matt Groening do before. It's one show with a narrative throughout. And obviously it's really, really funny. I know I'm saying that the writing's taking a bit of a nosedive, but it's still, all the little one-liners, all the little zingers, some of the little jokes that they play are still really, really good. It's a really, really well-written show. And the characters that are in there get more of a chance to play in season 2. Because other characters, like in season 1, you had the three-eyed Prime Minister, Oddval. He's now got his own intentions for the castle. He wants the Prince, what the hell's his name, Derek, the lizard boy.
Prince,
they want him to be the king because they can control him. And then there's the minister priest woman from season 1 that tries to marry Bean and Giesbert. She's now got a larger part to play in it. And then there's the elven king, or the elf king from Elfwood, where Elf was from. They now live in Dreamland because their home got destroyed or some shit. So now they're just nomads in Dreamland. And then there's other there's the people working in Maru that voiced by like Rich Fulcher, and I can't remember her name, but she was in IT Crowd. She's the woman that beats the shit out of Matt Berry's character.
Jen?
Not Jen. I can't remember her name. But Lucy Montgomery is her name.
Right.
She was in the episode of IT Crowd. She played a transgendered woman.
Oh right, yeah.
And she's saying, "No, I'm not from Iran. I used to be a man."
That is the fucking funniest. Like, out of all the, like, when you were being introduced to LGBT issues as a young guy in Britain, that episode of the IT Crowd was fucking hysterical.
And the two of them have the fight through the science department. It's fucking hysterical.
Oh, it's so good.
Just to kind of try and sum up, this Gentleman season 2 it's pretty good in terms of what they try and do, but it really needs to create a core story and stick with it, because they started the Dagmar storyline and then they just dropped that. They're picking it up at the end of season 2, but ultimately I think season 2 could have been so much better if they just stuck with that, because there's a few too many episodes of let's just go do this.
What are we doing this episode? And it feels like it's just for this episode.
Yeah, and it's just padding. The episode where she writes her own play, I get that she gets closer to King Zog, but she already got closer to King Zog in season 1. I get that there was the betrayal there where she left to join her mother and stuff, but You don't need to do that again.
Yeah. And this is the big draw for a lot of us. This is Matt Groening doing a consistent through-line narrative.
Yeah, and it's him doing something where he can just do what he wants.
Netflix are
going to pay for it.
And just in texting, if you had to pick someone as a look at this person we have as not a champion of this platform, but as a showcase of what this platform Netflix is willing to do, that would be a hell of a get. Is Matt Groening?
Yeah, and have Matt. Is it Groening or Groening? I've always said Matt Groening. That doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
If Matt Groening is in your corner, fucking use him to his fullest, because I don't think Matt Groening has had anything to do with The Simpsons in fucking decades.
Yeah.
And
He's been gone for a while.
He might have just signed his name over to it, and then Fox just fucking ran with it.
I think he's only in there as a creator.
I think he might have name above the door type money. He opened the door. He made it for the first few seasons. Now he's just do it. I don't really care.
Yeah. He maybe show up to writers' retreats, do a couple bits of work here and there, but
approve new characters, maybe.
Might go check that out, see if he is still involved.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Disenchantment season 2, I'd say it's well worth a watch. It's not going to be as funny as season 1, but you're still going to have a few good laughs, and you're still going to dig the characters they're in. There's still a fucking powerhouse performance from quite a lot of the characters. You've got Noel Fielding plays Stan the Executioner.
Right, yeah.
You've got Rich Fulcher plays a few characters. You've got Eric Andre, and there is Lucy and a couple other characters. You've got is it Abby? I can't remember the character's name, but the girl who voices Bean is fucking perfect at it. She fits that character expertly, and it's just a really good show. It's what The Simpsons could have been if it kept just saying, we'll do what we want, let's not do what the executives want.
Yeah.
It's definitely a better example of Matt Groening's work.
And if he doesn't have to reset the clock the same way he does with The Simpsons every 22 minutes, Springfield needs to be the same every 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Once he's done with it, he has to tell his story, clean up his shit, get out.
Yeah. If he changes it in the first 10 minutes, it needs to be exactly the same as it was before that in the last 20 minutes.
Unless it's a big revelation of a character leaving or dying or whatever.
And yeah, I definitely say Disenchantment's worth a watch. If you're on Netflix and you have, I think it's 5 hours to kill, 6 hours to kill.
Yeah, there's 10 episode season 1.
10 episodes, half an hour each. Yeah, I'd say definitely pick up. A Netflix subscription and watch Disenchantment season 1 and 2. It's a good show.
Yep. And there's plenty of good animated stuff coming. We were talking about BoJack Horseman. Season 6 was announced as the final season, being split into 2 parts, which is weird. It's a very popular show. Yeah, it's got its very cult following.
I think more streaming platforms are splitting the content because they're realizing that more people are engaging with longer form shows, but they're binging it all within a weekend. So if they split it, they get to prolong that engagement.
That is part of my theory of this one, because there's another one which is that Rick and Morty is coming back as well. Also towards November. BoJack Horseman's 2 seasons are being announced for, or 2 half seasons are October 25th, so soon, and then January in 2020. Don't know what the exact date was for that one, but January. So they're ready to go. They're just probably polishing up the last. Yeah,
maybe they're just doing some editing and
given how story based the show is, I don't think the story is going to change based on anything that happens. Really highly doubt that. I just think there's been a lot of production issues for that studio. They've been on strike for half of 2019, so I'd say that they're just making sure they've got enough time to put out a finished product.
Yeah, and I think that's. Yeah. I mean, I think that's people learning the mistakes from the writer strikes in the early 2000s, because you've got 2 good seasons of Lost before it just goes to shit because of the writer strike. It happened with quite a lot of those early shows. I mean, Scrubs, where you started rehashing ideas where everybody gets pregnant, everybody gets married. Yeah, with this, I'm looking at the release schedule on that, and Rick and Morty announced for 5 episodes coming up in November. Yeah, if that's related to the Harmon or the Dan Harmon incident, I'm not surprised in the slightest that he's just thinking, fuck it. If you're wondering what Dan Harmon incident, Dan Harmon is the incident. That's the best way to describe that. But I think with these, it is partially due to issues going on for production. I got the personal theory that they are just holding on, releasing content in small chunks for, as a prolonged engagement, prolonged subscriptions.
because there's something to kind of keep you coming back every couple months.
Something to maintain that viewership, and it's also something that,
especially since allegedly Netflix has lost a ton of money this year.
Yeah, they did, and a lot of people are saying Dave Chappelle's to blame, but I watched his special. It's not the greatest special, but it's nothing ridiculously harsh. It makes a couple of pretty bad jokes. Yeah. I mean, not bad as in I still laughed at them. But
do you see what I mean when I said that it was
mean?
It was meaner. It was more targeted. It was sitting there to lance certain things that he felt were boils. But
so I think that is maybe the reason why
there was no mass. I doubt there was mass unsubscription. The reason, the issues they're having,
not many people are buying accounts. They're just buying one account and dishing out the password, sharing
accounts, and competing subscription services. That's the thing. Netflix was the man for so long, and now Amazon's surprisingly good.
Yeah, like Amazon,
they ain't fucking around.
And then you've got Disney Plus, the Goliath. That's going to be.
That's going to cause its own monster. I mean, you've got guys like HBO doing their own thing, and they'll be in the UK. We do it through like Sky Atlantic. You just get a Sky package and just buy that service. Throw that on top of what you've already got, and then you have access to the good HBO stuff. You have to see everything, but everyone is competing now for a piece of what was at one point Netflix's pie.
Yeah, it was solely Netflix's pie, but I think Netflix
and Hulu. Yeah, Hulu. Don't forget Hulu.
I mean, Hulu, we don't really get that over here. I think most shows that are on Hulu in America are on Amazon Prime UK for us.
Yeah.
So when the Animaniacs gets relaunched, you can watch that on Amazon Prime.
I hear they're redoing it. Yeah. And original voice cast is down for it.
Yeah, they've got everybody that was on the show originally to come back. So I can imagine I will tune in just to see, because I know it's not going to be for me anymore. I'm just going to see if it's still what I remember.
Yeah. Is it kind of fun?
Yeah. And I know if it's good, I'll probably just grab the niece, just watch this. This is the good shit.
But I wonder how many there's talks about shows being brought back, shows not coming back. I wonder who. I kind of wonder who makes the cut in a way, because I'd love another season of Archer, especially the way the new season ended. Again, more Big Mouth. We can need that because season 3 ended with a very set ending, a very set kind of story ending that I kind of need to see them come back to. They've. I don't know if it was. I think it was Adult Swim have commissioned another 70 episodes of Rick and Morty, and that's the first 5 coming out. And it's been.
I thought this was going to be the last episode.
Nope.
Of the last series.
No, Netflix. They commissioned 70.
Fuck.
From Dan Harmon, and I don't know what's going on there because I don't know how you explain a 5-episode chunk. I don't know if that's a distribution plan. Again, are we seeing companies trying to build a drip feed of content rather than just dropping?
I think you might be on the money on that, because Disney Plus are deliberately releasing all their shows in 1-episode chunks. So you'll get 1 episode 1 week, 1 episode the next week. They're not dropping everything at once like Netflix do with Stranger Things, for example. They're just say The Mandalorian, which is one of a few shows that I would actually get a Disney Plus subscription for. They're doing the open fuck. They're doing the open fuck.
The open fuck.
They're doing the opening episode, and that'll be the first one. That's about an hour and a half or something like that. Then they're doing next week's the episode after that, within a week. Then so on and so forth. But I think the finales are always going to be about 2 weeks after.
Right.
The show. That's what I've heard. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but that's what I've heard after talking to someone who did some research into it. But I personally think that's a dumb move to say, oh, you have these 9 episodes, but if you want episode 10, you have to wait 2 weeks.
Yeah, I wonder what the structures are. I wonder what they're playing with. I wonder what they're concerned about. Like, just in general with this mass creation of streaming platforms, it should, in theory, I mean, there's always the thing of all competition is good for the market, but these aren't competing services in the same way that traditionally products are. They're competing for your time and will use exclusives to try and grab your attention and money. And this is where we have great experience as gamers, because we have been fucked over for years by this nonsense of console exclusives.
Console exclusivity is dumb, because as you're always been, I always applaud your loyalty when it comes to console, because you've been Xbox.
I just buy Xbox because it's cheaper.
Because it's cheaper, yeah. And
It's what my friends are on.
Yeah.
That's the group I play with.
That's what you've stuck with, It's never really done you wrong.
Yeah.
Xbox, you're always able to play the games that you want to play, but my problem right now is I don't know if I want to get the PS5.
I heard something like a warning about the price for this.
Yeah, and that's apparently Scarlet is going to be pricey.
Yeah,
but it's not going to be as much as PS5 because PS5 they tend to go a bit artisan with it. They go a bit too far with their consoles. Like, oh, your fucking console can make you popcorn and jerk you off while you wait for your game to install.
Great, but at the same time,
fantastic.
Is it worth the extra £200?
Exactly. Is it worth? Like, I don't want a jerk off machine that's going to cost me an extra £200 on my console. With Xbox, it's always just been, this is what you need to play. It's slightly cheaper than PlayStation, but it's still going to cost you a pretty penny.
Yeah.
And there's going to be games coming out on PS5 that I'd want to play, but would I want to then shell out for another console when I've already bought Scarlet? And I hate the fact that I always justify buying the other consoles by saying, oh, well, this game comes out. Because that game comes out.
It's not that I'm loyal to the Xbox, it's that the Xbox is the one I buy first, and then I don't go back and buy another console.
Yeah.
I'm not going back for that extra couple £100, even at the end of a console generation, to say, I want to go back and play the exclusives. It's just not worth it. I never get my money's worth it at the time I spend with it. So it's kind of a up in the air thing, and then it's honestly a question of, do I just stick with PC at this point? So
I think,
with the exception of the launchers issue where everyone wants you to download and install their launching software.
Yeah, which is
stupid. It's the console thing all over again between Epic and Steam, which is
but Epic, as much as they try to win the launcher war, they still lose because Steam is the thing.
Yeah,
it's like when Epic say we have this game, then Steam say we also have this game, and Epic try more of a push. It always pushes Steam sales. Regardless of how much effort they put into their advertising or their campaigns or any shit like that.
The thing becomes, though, true exclusives, because Steam does not have Borderlands 3.
No, it does not.
Because Epic came in and just bought the rights straight out.
Yep.
We are the only ones selling this game. You'll play by our rules, and if you don't like it, you can suck it.
Yep. And if you don't like our rules, get out.
Yeah. If you don't like them, just complain about it on the internet for a bit, then download or install it and pay for it through us.
Yeah. Which is why I say to a few people, don't buy it on PC, because that just reinforces Epic's bad behaviour. Buy it on console. Works just as well.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not just as well.
We'll see about that one. We'll wait for some day one patches.
We'll wait for the 10th patch.
10? Wow.
10th patch, yeah.
On a PS4 game?
Yeah, I've been playing it. Me and my brother have been playing it, just trying to clean up, get some legendaries, and 9 times out of 10 when we've been playing it, it's just been, there's a new update for this game available. Would you like to wait estimated time for installation? And I'm like, okay. 40 minutes later, it's installing update 8. Like, motherfucker. And it's all just little fixes that they've had to do. It's like, you could have saved yourself so much time and effort
if you just shipped a finished game on launch. Yeah.
I feel most of this is going to be me. Most of this episode is going to be me starting an episode, reacting to you yawning myself, and you picking up on the rest of that.
It's why we work. It's
back and forth. We finish each other's
sandwiches. Yeah.
Oh, fuck, we said the same thing. Now I'm hungry.
Yeah, and right, I think we want to kind of talk about like gaming corporate greed. Might as well just touch that China thing. Touch that China button with Blizzard. As you know, there's been protesting and rioting in Hong Kong for 52 weeks now.
Yep.
No, not quite 52. I think we're close though. We're up to about 40 weeks of protesting against the Chinese government trying to influence Hong Kong, which has been previously very independent. It is a fucking mess of a situation.
Absolutely.
It has seen police in riot gear in the streets of Hong Kong for weeks now, using tear gas and beanbag guns on
the
civilians.
rubber bullets and shit.
And at one point, apparently not a rubber bullet on a kid, and it's just been back and forth, and you've seen various groups take certain political allegiances based on who their influences are, and the hottest one on the market right now is Blizzard, the game developers, part of Activision now, developed World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, and then they have recently sided with the Chinese government by silencing the opinion of a Hearthstone champion who came on a live stream, which is kind of partially produced by Blizzard, and he was wearing a gas mask and a hat, and said "Free Hong Kong" on it, and started talking politically, and then the stream was cut. They removed that Hearthstone Champions bio from their Wizards or the Blizzard thing, because Blizzard actually has a very good interaction with its community.
Wasn't he an esports player?
Yeah, he was Hearthstone champion esports player.
Yeah. Sorry, I was.
So they also apparently fired the two broadcasters that he was on a live stream with. They're gone as well, and they are just entirely saying we are not
up with this shit. We will not put.
We're not on the side of the people of Hong Kong with this one, because Hearthstone or Blizzard Activision want to make big ways into the Asian market, i.e. China, because there are a billion potential gamers out there. They're all fairly,
if they can get their products out there.
I mean, that's the thing is, if there's one thing that the gaming executives love more than the money they make, it's the hypothetical money they could make if they just fuck over some people.
Yeah, if they just trample a couple of people, they can make some cheddar cheese. But
and when you remember, like, this has always been like, people are very surprised to see Blizzard doing this, and if you go on any of the subreddits right now, it's fucking hysterical. The new icon was apparently they wanted to make a new subreddit banner, just the Chinese flag, but with the central star replaced by the central hammer and sickle replaced by the Blizzard logo. You know, holy shit, lads! Like, it's the most upvoted thing on the subreddit, 152,000 upvotes or whatever. And the entire, like, all the gaming subreddits right now are just tearing themselves apart. They just rip Blizzard a new one. It's a lot of fun if you're not a Blizzard fan. But you got to remember, this is new to Blizzard fans. It's not new to Activision fans. Activision fans drove Call of Duty into the fucking ground for decades. They drove Guitar Hero into the fucking ground for decades. Activision don't give a fuck about anyone. They just want to make money.
Yeah. I mean, you only need to look at the amount of fucking rock band tie-ins there were. There was Rock Band Aerosmith, Rock Band The Beatles, Lego Rock Band, Rock Band 2. Why the fuck is there a Rock Band 2?
Just add more songs, dipshit.
Yeah, if there's ever an advert for games as a fucking service, it is the Rock Band games. But I've been being kept clued into the situation with Blizzard in Hong Kong, because a friend of mine is very active in the whole anti-China thing. He's been very much in the Free Hong Kong camp. And he posted the article, and underneath it he just typed uninstall Battle.net, and I just felt like replying, what the fuck is uninstalling Battle.net on your end as a person living in Scotland going to do? Again, you can show that you stand in solidarity. I understand the sentiment, but
it's more to do with, it's not, nothing will happen. The Chinese government will not pay attention to that.
Exactly.
But Blizzard will. People removing themselves from the service, you talked about earlier, not encouraging the bad behaviour.
Yeah.
You have to make your choice and say, this is my line, I'm not crossing it. I don't want to associate with you because you believe X, because you do Y, because you say things that I disagree with. I'm done, I'm walking away. Goodbye, good luck. You know?
Good luck with this dumpster fire.
It is the only option available to individuals when we're dealing with a capitalist market.
Yeah.
I refuse to use your services because I don't like what you say, think, do, whatever.
I think my stance on it was, what is one person? Because I guarantee there's going to be a lot of people logging off in terms of, you know, people in Hong Kong and other people that are directly affected by this. They're going to probably stop using Battle.net, but it's not. I mean, there are certain, you know, Hong Kong nationals that are in Scotland. If they stop using it, fine. But what is one person who's probably not that connected to it?
I think the idea there is, the most important part is, you said that person did it and posted it on social media. That's the idea. Yeah. It's not about that person. It's like, you could just uninstall it yourself and no one would know. But the idea is, you are part of the ripple of anti-Blizzard or anti-corporate sentiment that supports this idea. You publicly do it. You announce that you're doing it. You're making a big show of it. If you're sincere in that, if you're just doing it for woke points, go fuck yourself. If you're sincere and you don't want, and you're part of that, you say that person's part of like an activist. No, he's interested and engaged in the story.
He's definitely engaged in the story, but he showed up to the protests and shit like that.
Right, so he's part of.
Yeah, he's definitely
part of genuine activism against Chinese the Chinese government's push against Hong Kong as an independent place, or as a more free-minded place as opposed to the Chinese government. He's doing that to be part of a very kind of social awareness campaign to say, I disagree with this, and to the extent of when someone takes the side of that, I will disagree with them.
Yeah, I mean,
I want you to know that, and I want you to consider how you react to this news as well.
It was also more. It wasn't the fact that this was posted through a private chat. A private group. It was like type uninstall Battle.net. I did feel like saying, what is your installation of, or you deleting Battle.net going to do to this greater thing at large? If he did post it on social media, okay, he's getting back in behind him. He's showing that he's standing in solidarity, but
maybe if it's in I don't know what this group chat is, but if it is a group of maybe close, like similarly minded individuals or people who
it's literally,
or is it just a general group chat of
it's
like
just a
10,
general
20
group
guys?
chat of about 10, 20, I have about 10, 15 people, and he's the only person that's been actively engaging in this whole Hong Kong protest thing.
Right.
And it's originally, we kind of thought he's always had a bit of he's always liked the Asian ladies.
Right.
So we initially thought, this is just this guy going out trying to get some.
This is the most
Asian,
desperate attempt for pussy I've ever seen.
He's trying to get some Asian tasty, but and it's just, this has been quite desperate. I've always seen it as just he's been getting involved in something. He's always been Asian inclined. He's always involved himself with Asian culture, and I'm just thinking, is this just the latest thing that he's been swept up in? Because where my kind of exasperation comes from is just, I've known this person for a long time, since high school, and they've always been kind of flip-floppy on things, and he gets attached to certain ideas and just refuses to let it go until one piece of information comes to light, and that's that whole previous stance shattered, and then there's a new opposing stance taken from it. So I personally just think, when I seen
his sincerity, basically.
When I seen the message, I was just like, you're only going to change your fucking mind. I mean, I never typed this, but because I just couldn't be fucked, because it's just the latest in a long line of little activist things that he gets part of. But I just wonder the motivation behind it, and like you said, are you sincere about it? Because again, I go to Edinburgh on a daily basis, and most of the people in fact I'd say about 75% of the students in my university are international students.
Right.
Not that many Scots. Right. I'd be lucky if I hear another Scottish accent on the day that isn't a lecturer or someone that I know. Not that many Scots. And so I've been spoke to by people just saying, this is what we're doing, and it's like, okay, I understand. So I get the whole, like, the reason for the protest, but it's just, I can see why they were doing it, and there's people that are attaching themselves to it, and I think it relates back to my stance on being angered for other people.
Yeah.
If you're not part of that group, I think it kind of devalues it by saying, like, yeah, you don't get to be annoyed, I'm annoyed for you. But again, it could just be personal hangouts, and I get this doesn't really make a lot of sense, but
it's a thing you look at and say, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
But of all the things to be worried or afraid of, the Chinese government's a pretty good target. I'm not gonna lie. I think don't like their
Blizzard stance. Like, what one person installing their Battle.net going to do? But then there's going to be so many other people doing it that
if he did it
might
publicly,
send the appropriate message.
Yeah. If he did it publicly, and I guarantee you, he's not the only one who's done that today. I guarantee you can probably find an entire subreddit of fuck Blizzard.
Yeah. It's probably going to be an ongoing movement. I could probably check Twitter and type in Blizzard, and it'd be people just clicking the uninstall button.
Yeah. You could find videos, GIFs, pictures of the uninstallation message and stuff like that. You'll find that somewhere, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does take them if it is a real kick in the balls, because of all the things to side yourself with, the Chinese government, really, who really is pro that regime at this point in time?
Yeah. Who's looking at those guys and go, they got it right?
Yeah, I really like their tax policy. They really have it down.
They got it down pat.
And I think it's good to see Blizzard fans who are fanatics to the point of almost being assholes, really waking up to realise you're not Blizzard anymore, you're Activision Blizzard. You want money.
You just want that dollar.
I think we're ready for the showstopper.
Almost. We have a message.
Oh, the message.
Yep. We got a message from Son of Corax on Twitter.
Yes.
A good friend of the show, been there since the very beginning, always been very vocal as our community gets, I suppose. He sent us a video of Lewis Capaldi. We all know who Lewis Capaldi is. The guy is a walking meme machine.
I think I know who he is.
Yep. He's a singer, got a really good voice. Scottish singer, but he's more known for just the dumb shit that he says.
He is the guy,
the Scottish Beyonce.
Okay, that's one way of putting it.
Genuinely what he calls himself. I mean, why would I call someone Beyonce? I don't even know who he is.
Look, I'm on Tinder looking for a girlfriend. Half of the profiles are, I'm just on here looking for Lewis Capaldi, because he said he was on there at one point.
Oh, that's his tour poster. Is his profile picture from Tinder.
Right. Okay.
So,
right. So what's the video?
it was a video of him going through different movies and TV shows and rating Scottish accents.
Right.
And I think after me being very vocal about how I hate bad Scottish accents, and I think at this point I hate most Scottish impressions that aren't done by actual Scottish people.
Yeah.
I thought you'd probably get a kick out of it, and I did watch the video. I watched as much as I could before my headphones ran out of battery when I was at uni. They run through Star Trek, both the new movies with Simon Pegg and the old movies with the Welsh guy voicing a Scotsman.
Right.
They go Shrek, they go Fat Bastard, they go Braveheart, and it's mainly this guy Lewis Capaldi just going, no, I can see what you tried to do there, but it's shite. It's all shite. Like they start off with Braveheart, and he goes, really? No one decided to check Mel Gibson on his accent when he's doing this. You know the speech when he's walking in front of the line of horses, and he goes, fight, and you may die.
When you're writing and directing the movie, you pretty much have nobody who can stop you.
Yeah, like, did I do a good? You can imagine him talking to himself. Did I do a good job on that voice? Yeah, I did. Well done, Mel. Thanks, me.
When you write it, when you direct it, when you're Mad Max,
yeah,
and you're Mel Gibson, you don't have to basically answer to anyone at this point. He was given carte blanche for that movie, I think.
So that's the kind of things that he runs to, and I think what Lance was wanting us to talk about is maybe us rating those accents. So maybe for next week, I'll send the video to you and we'll look through that.
Right.
And so far, my results were the Braveheart accent is fucking horrible because.
Get ready, by the way, for Shrek to be number one. I'm just saying that right now. I will fight and die on a hill for our Green Lord and Savior, Shrek. Okay, it's all ogre now.
It's all ogre now. But, fuck. So
and brought back some memories.
He did memories that were best left forgotten. So the first one they open with is Braveheart, William Wallace, and the reason why I don't like the accent is because A, it's just not very good, and B, they do the thing where everyone assumes that a U in a Scottish accent is as a double O sound.
Right.
So one thing that I used to get called quite a lot as a child was, you wee scunner. Right. She's like, you wee rascal, you wee bandit, that kind of thing. People who are doing a Scottish impression automatically think that's a ooh, so it's you wee schooner. Who the fuck says schooner? A schooner's a ship, you dick. So yeah, he does that quite a lot, and it fucking bugged me there. And I'm just not a fan of Braveheart as a movie, and that's a recurring theme for me watching this video. It's like that accent shite. Why? Because it's Groundskeeper Willie. It's designed to just be a stereotype. Yeah. And Shrek, fuck Shrek.
We'll do that for the next episode. We'll have we'll watch the video. We'll put them in a list, and we can actually compare lists. So you organize yours, and you're like. In order, like
spoilers, I didn't like any of them.
Best to worst, and then I'll come in and just say Shrek, and then everything else sucks dick. Okay, and we'll
Shrek,
compare notes.
Awesome. Fat Bastard wasn't as good.
Fat Bastard,
same voice.
Fat Bastard, little racist but not wrong.
Accurate for some areas of Glasgow.
Fat Bastard, Dad.
Fat Bastard, Uncle.
So we'll do that for next week. Sorry we didn't get to it this week. But we'll do that one for next week. You just kind of come.
We'll just compare these shitty Scottish accents. Yeah. But now you have the showstopper, sir.
So we
a measly 3.5 hours.
Bitch ass episode. So I'm talking about.
Bitch. I think one of these days we're just going to go for a 4-hour episode, and it's just not going to end.
I'm thinking like we critical role this bitch. We just start recording the entire day as a podcast. the Tuesday the 31st podcast, and then we just hit record, and then just let it happen. And we just hang out for the entire day, talk shit, watch movies, the whole fucking 9 yards.
Do a riff track or something in the background, play some games. I might finally get to play Gears 5.
Doubtful.
I swear I'll get to it. I fucking swear I'll get to it.
Dom will get to it, and we will sit here and we'll be like, this needs to happen.
On our deathbeds we'll play, hey Colin, I got to that Gears 5. Why's my hand shaking? Like, obviously you can't see this because it's a fucking audio podcast, but my hand instantly did the shaky old man hand holding the cane.
It's weird because you actually had the hand spacing for it.
Yeah, I did.
Right, so from bad Scottish accents to my impression of bad Kentucky accent. So we are. Did you know that Kentucky has a family of blue people?
That's the Blue Man Group. Don't tell me that that's not the Blue Man Group.
It's a clan of people called the Fugates. They have a rare condition that causes their skin to be blue. The family starts in about 1820 with a French man named Martin Fugate settling the area where he married a very pale woman named Elizabeth Smith, and for some reason there is a very flowery description of her that's been recorded in history as part of this family lore that I'm just not going to bother with.
Okay.
Turns out that she and he have a recessive gene that they both carry on, and 4 out of their 7 children end up with blue skin. And then, because this is backwoods Kentucky, these people start inbreeding because the blue skin makes them feel bad about themselves. And
so they get some sister's comfort.
So they're like, well, who else is going to empathise with me but my hot ass sister with blue skin? It's this weird thing where occasionally people will like marry into the family and have kids, so it does stop it from being what I've called a Smurf crossover episode with The Hills Have Eyes. But this is the beginning of the blue Fugate legacy, which actually continued on to this day. There was a blue Fugate born as late as 1975, and there was an actual picture of this guy alive and well, because we'll actually talk about this, what happened, how this all happens, and how the treatment happens as well, because it turns out there is a cure for being blue. The gene that they possess is, it represses what's called methemoglobin reductase. So it is the enzyme that prevents methemoglobin from forming. I'm going to just say, by the way, I'm probably mispronouncing it because it's methemoglobin. I'm just calling it methemoglobin because it's meth, and we're in Kentucky, so we have a meth problem in Kentucky.
It's that blue crystal meth.
Yeah, it is blue crystal meth, shit. I didn't even think of that one.
Walter White's just hunting them like fucking Gargamel for the Smurfs. We brought it round.
So these, so you know what hemoglobin is? It is a protein that transports blood, transports oxygen through your blood.
Yeah.
Is a small amount of iron in there. So it's like a little, I think it's like an iron molecule, and then like a long string of proteins. I think it's like 111 pairs of amino acids that form this protein.
Yeah.
And some people, I'll memorize it. You're a fucking moron.
Buy a television.
Go read something else. No
Put
one
that
cares.
book down and read the Beano.
Fucking nerd.
Read a comic book or something.
So normally when you have hemoglobin, the iron in there is slightly ionically charged. It's got a 2+ charge, so it's missing 2 electrons. When it's methemoglobin, all that changes is that iron loses another electron. It becomes Fe3, and then you've got the protein chain afterwards. This stops it from transporting oxygen. I have no idea how that works, but it does. That is the sole difference between normal people and these people. And actually, the average person has a very small amount of methemoglobin in the body. It is a naturally kind of occurring thing that the iron would just randomly change. Remember, I mean, you're basically a walking bag of chemicals.
Yeah.
So if one of them slightly changes a little bit, the body fights to return to kind of
fights
stasis. And you apparently have about 1 to 2% of your hemoglobin in your body at any given point is probably methemoglobin. And this is just natural because we have the reductase protein that comes in and corrects it back to hemoglobin so it functions normally. However, when you get to about 10% of this, so 10 times normal concentration, you start to go blue because methemoglobin is tinted blue. Normal blood is red-brown. For some reason, blue-brown is a thing in blood. So this is when your deoxygenated blood that just can't carry anything starts to affect your like outward appearance, and it can be as little as like blue fingers or like a blue tint to your cheeks whenever you get hot and flustered. Apparently you can go completely fucking blue. There was a report of like the youngest version of Fugate, or remember the Fugate family, was told by a distant relative who actually knew like the last living proper blue faced Fugate that the grandmother was the worst one of them all. Like his grandmother was completely like blue lips like a corpse, blue skin, blue like pale,
cold constantly.
Constantly looks like an ice sculpture.
I hope you have a picture. I want to see one of these blue people.
The weird thing is that
they don't like being photographed. Fair.
Funnily enough, and there's the worst photo of all of them, and it's the one that's appeared at the top of every article I can find about this. Is it's a restoration of a black and white photo, and it looks so fake. like I believe this is a thing. There's actually there's evidence of the this kind of methemoglobin like issue appearing. It's where you get if you ever hear that a baby was born looking kind of blue, it's that because the baby doesn't know how to create the reductase protein in its body yet because it was sharing with the mother, and
it was sharing that protein with the mother, so it doesn't know how to self-produce it.
But eventually it will catch up and it'll go okay, and it'll balance itself out. But
or they're all frost giants.
Ooh. One of them could be Loki.
Let's just start snapping babies' necks. I ain't having this shit. Or we just down here like,
no.
fuck this.
No. We're not dealing with this.
I have the all-seeing eye. I ain't dealing with this shit again.
So, at about 10%, this is where you start to have discoloration, where you start to go kind of vaguely tinted blue. And you can go up to about 20% before you start having serious issues. Now remember, this is all related to transporting oxygen in your blood. So when you start having issues, it gets real bad real fucking fast.
Yeah.
At about 20%, you're going to start to feel a bit of dizziness, a bit of nausea, and apparently anxiety, which is, if you talk to somebody who's been in part of like carbon monoxide poisoning, anxiety, like crippling anxiety, is a real thing that happens with oxygen deprivation. And then you can go up to about 70%. That's when you start being at risk of, like, obviously before then you would be starting to vomit and stuff, but at 70% you have like genuine just breathing issues. You become more fatigued as the percentage increases of methemoglobin versus hemoglobin, and at a certain point your body would just start having seizures and you'll slip into a coma and you can die. But that, I think, apparently tops out at 70%. So only 30% of your hemoglobin is working as intended. The other 70% is basically useless. So at this point, like, I was looking at this going, there's got to be a treatment for this because there's no way an entire family would survive. I mean, yes, it's the 1800s, so everyone has like 15 kids, so some of those kids make it through just mathematically.
They just make it through on sheer survivability.
They're, I will say as well,
they go and become part of the road. They just get run over.
If you look at this is so rural Kentucky. I was reading that apparently the railway didn't reach them till 1910.
Fucking hell. They were just stuck in this landlocked inbreeding little fuck pile for
the family tree looks like a fucking Gordian knot. It's fucking horrifying. You're like, oh, you two are like not even kind of vaguely distant related.
You're quite literally brother and sister.
Those people are cousins. I'm not gonna say that it shows with the interviews that these people gave, because obviously again, like, medical science at that point is like, there's a family of what people living around the place, like fucking blue people. All right, let's go check this shit out. And there's people giving interviews like, yeah, I'm kin to myself. I'm like, yeah, the fact you say I'm kin to myself, that tells me you are actually kin to yourself. So the treatment for this, there's a picture of the current kind of the most youngest fugate is a guy called Benji Stacy, and he honestly,
it's a hick-ass name.
He looks like a fairly normal person. Honestly, he's a bit pale, but honestly, walking through Scotland, you would not clock this guy. He'd just be another dude.
He'd just be another Scotsman.
The solution to this is actually, the solution to being blue is more blue. There's a blue dye called methylene blue. Actually use it at work to dye yeast cells and stuff like that, so you can determine if it's a yeast cell or a bacterial cell. And you can use it to determine if it's a viable cell as well, because a viable cell will actually displace, it'll pump out the methylene blue. It'll go, I don't need this, and just vomit it back out basically. But when you have like a very severe stage of methemoglobin poisoning, you give them supplemental oxygen just to give them as much oxygen just to keep them alive. But the solution is actually to inject them with a very low concentration of methylene blue, and you do it via IV. Apparently, it's like a very small amount should be injected over 5 minutes. So it's like basically drip feed it into them. And the methylene blue has the same effect on the actual methemoglobin, and it changes the iron from the 3+ to the 2+, so it changes it back to normal hemoglobin, and over time the body starts to recover. So you actually have dosage pills. Apparently this guy's on like a dosage of methylene blue tablets where just at a very low concentration he just pops it in, eats it like an old capsule, and then just like that's his daily like part of his supplements and vials and stuff. Apparently a very like livable condition as long as you kind of have manage the hemoglobin levels. But like the condition this guy must have lived in, like this family's like, this modern guy is dealing with it through medical science. How the fuck did people react in the 1800s? There are just a bunch of rednecks in the woods. Oh, there's Alien Jim. He just runs around with his all blue all the time.
Oh, that's Blue Farmer Jim. He brings our cattle to us, but we don't talk to him. He stays in the barn. But
it's honestly, there was a family. All the photos from like back in the day look kind of shitty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it almost looks like they're wearing kind of like Smurf face paint.
Someone just colored it in with a blue Sharpie.
They're all in blue face.
Are you appropriating my culture using blue face?
It's it's a weird condition. I was just reading up and it's like, what the blue people? Okay, let's go for it. And just reading up and I'm like, I was genuinely Googling this constantly for like a week before I decided to put it on the show. It was maybe going to appear last week. I was unsure, but then I found the fat guy story. I'm like, the fat guy story is funnier, ties into the James Corden thing. And then I found this story. I've been Googling this for weeks and I'm like, this is legit. This is an actual condition. And if it wasn't for the fact that it also occurs in babies, I still wouldn't be 100% convinced. Yeah. Like the fact that you can have this happen naturally, and it does kind of affect most people, but then it's just for these guys who the gene suppresses the production of the enzyme that controls this all and prevents it from happening to everyone. You're like, oh my god, what the fuck is going wrong with people in Kentucky? It's a problem that could only be funny in the southern states of the US.
Yeah.
If this is happening in Canada, be like, there's some Eskimos with some serious problems. We need a fundraiser now.
We need to get Jimmy Buffett out there.
Happens in the deep south, fucking hysterical.
Happens in the deep south, that's just normal.
And that explains why those people need bourbon. So with that in mind, I've been Colin Grib.
I've been Dom Anderson.
And we've been talking Gibberpish.
For almost 4 hours.